Hello and welcome back to Frog Boy X1 Gaming and Tech Reviews. I'm Andrew. Today we're going to be talking about Xbox, AI, PlayStation, the whole works. We're going to dive into everything we can. This is Italian Clownz from 4GQ TV with us today. I'm going to let him introduce himself and we'll get started with this.
Hey, what's up, man? Glad to be here. I know it's been a long time coming. We constantly talk about getting together, and off and on throughout the years. And I kind of let my stuff go down for more pop culture stuff, so it kind of slowed that down. But here I am on your channel with amazing tech and news that you always do. So glad to be here.
Thank you for coming on, man. It's been a while since how's the 4GQ TV thing going? You guys still doing that on Thursdays or no?
No, we haven't done it on Thursdays. We right now it's primarily focused on pop culture, cosplay, comic cons, and celebrity interviews. But I'm looking to bring something back to the channel. We do have Majestic Mayhem on Sunday nights with Death Dealer, which is Dreadpool's wife, and then we have Pink Piggles on, who is the wife of Game Complainer. So
Nice.
we got
Oh
that
yeah.
going on.
At least there's something still going on that has a little bit to do with gaming and stuff. So I know that you follow Xbox pretty much. You know, a lot of us do. And you know, how are you feeling about this constant freaking doom and gloom, death and alive, stupid ass Xbox tax that we keep going through year after year, game after game? Is it I know I'm getting freaking exhausted with it, a lot of fatigue. How are you feeling about it? What's
Man,
your
I have a lot of feelings about it. As a diehard growing up Xbox fan, like I really like the OG Xbox and not to try and say that the competition isn't good at all, but I liked the Xbox because it was like the American brand out of the consoles. It's like, hey, we have
absolutely?
an American brand and they're employing lots of people here and they're doing great things and so many cool things. Competition is good, games are coming out, the exclusives they had for OG Xbox 360 with the especially with the Call of Duty DLC that they locked on for so long, and
Yeah,
it was a good wave of excitement. And now we're at a point where it just really seems like the tides have turned. And I hear a lot of complaints out there, and a lot of people just want to bag on and blame Phil for this and blame Phil for that. And I get that's what CEOs take the blame for.
yeah,
They get paid the money to take the blame when something doesn't go right. But I just want to say, like, we see we start to see how well Phil Spencer saved the brand, because if he wasn't in that position for so long, it probably would have been gone a long time ago.
yeah.
Uh,
How do you feel about Halo coming to freaking PlayStation next month? That last
no, I think
that last bastion of Xbox. You know what I mean? It's like Halo Combat Evolved, man, coming to PlayStation next month.
you know. I wow, how do I say this? Because I know the diehards are disappointed on what former exclusives going somewhere else, but at the same time, I want the Xbox brand to live, and I feel like that they need to take strategic moves to keep the lights on. Because it seems like Satya, and I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, Satya Nadella, but it
Nutella.
just seems, yeah, it just seems like that he's kind of said, Xbox, grow up, no more purse holding. You guys got to make money on your own and sustain yourselves. And that big checkbook that Phil had to keep the lights on is kind of like gone. And
Yeah.
he chose Asha to kind of like transition that and draw the hard lines of closing down studios and doing the layoffs. So this is a move to keep the lights on at Xbox, I think.
Do you think that's wise to shut down these studios that essentially thought that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, building content for Game Pass any way they could, with basically the freedom to do what they wanted to do and be creative and try to expand the brand in multiple different directions? Do you think that the Xbox should essentially keep them on and give them new directives to like, hey, obviously the stuff's not doing well. Let's get you guys building the kind of things that people are that you're known for. Let's play it a little bit safe for a while until we can build this brand back up. Or do you think it's fair, after all the things that Ninja Theory have done? I love Ninja Theory. They've built some incredible games over the years. Should they be thrown to the wolves and essentially basically being told, hey, you can buy yourself back, or we're gonna close you down? um, do you think X Microsoft is being a little bit heartless at this point, or do you think they deserve basically what's coming to them from the woke
I
culture, whatever nonsense?
I do think that when it comes to situations like the studio closures or the sell-offs that are kind of like being talked about happening right now, I do think that this is the hard line that Asha has to deliver to, cut funds and save money for Xbox. And it's a catch 22 because a lot of these studios have so much talent, right? And they thought they had security because Phil was there, and under Phil was Matt Booty, and the checkbooks just kept flowing. And I think now, after what Satya said, I think Asha's like, guys, listen, if you're not making us money, like right now, probably gonna have to start looking at closing you guys down, selling you guys off. And with Ninja Theory, it's a sad story. They're a great studio, great development teams, and instead of telling them that they should find a buyer for themselves, I really wish and feel that Microsoft should have kind of said, went out there and said to like Amazon or whoever else might be looking for studios, hey, we got some studios we're gonna sell or liquidate. Would you be interested in purchasing them before closing them down? Because I think Microsoft would have more of an ability to transaction that kind of deal than a studio themselves. Because Ninja Theory going to somebody, Amazon might be like, oh, okay, well, what have you guys done for Xbox? Instead of Microsoft saying, well, these guys have done this for us. These, it's different. It's like a manager kind of like promoting you a little bit versus you
Yeah,
trying to struggle to find employment.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen over the last few years, obviously, studios taking risks, building characters that are eh, not exactly, that that character pedigree that we've seen uh, throughout our childhood. Okay, obviously the female characters were beautiful and attractive. The freaking male characters were badass, and lately they've been trying to go for this more subdued, um, kind of generic type freaking character where the beauty standards have drastically drifted. um and like the work that they're doing, it feels like developers have brought in a lot of their politics. They live in bubbles. Let's be real. I mean, I love game developers. I think they're incredible. They obviously do something that I clearly can't do myself to entertain me, but they have gotten themselves into this predicament to where it's very easy for grifters to destroy their work, even if the characters that they're bringing out. Let's take Star Wars, um, Outlaws into consideration for a minute. And talk about K-Vess. Obviously, not like, oh my gosh, she's super fine, but she's not horrible looking. You know what I mean? And for me, as a man and a Christian and a father and stuff, like I don't really pay attention to like the hotness of the characters that often. But I mean, when you've got something contrasting that with like Stellar Blade being like the ultimate freaking female sex symbol for men, the gooner material of the world, it's it's like it's so easy for critics and grifters to bash games like Star Wars Outlaws when they have something like Stellar Blade to be like, see, it, yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think Xbox has fallen into that trap as well a lot, just due to the fact that, like, I mean, when we saw Fable come out, the female lead for that, like, let's be real, bro. I mean, yeah, she looks ordinary and like average and regular or whatever, but let's be real, man. When you've got like Stellar Blades and stuff like that, these guys are going to chew it apart. I mean, even Capcom with freaking Resident Evil Veronica, Claire Redfield is absolutely beautiful. You know what I mean? They didn't dumb her down. I mean, even like the new one, Resident Evil 9. Gosh dang it, now I forget her name. Ashcroft. Uh, Dang it, did I really forget her name? Do you remember her name? The
Uh,
new Ashcroft
every time
one.
I hear every time I hear Ashcroft, I just think of Laura Croft.
Yeah, same here. Gosh, you didn't play Resident Evil. Um,
No.
what the freak did her? I can't believe I forgot her name, dude. Like, what the freak is going on with me? Resident Evil 9. Grace, Grace, huh? Yeah, I don't know how I forgot it, but Grace. I mean, even she looks really close to her actor, and then you've got like obviously like Xbox and PlayStation. Just I don't understand what the hell they're doing. It's like, how do they expect people to continue to buy these games when every single one of these developers is just going out of their way to just build mediocre characters that like nobody gives a shit about. There's no, obviously, first impressions are usually visual, right? You know what I mean? Usually attracted to people and things. So if you bring out characters that absolutely do not have a level of attraction to at least make you interested, most people aren't going to stick around long enough to care to see what their personality's like. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Xbox, if you want my honest opinion, I kind of think they're cooked. I do. I think they have blown every single opportunity they have. And I don't say this lightly. For everybody in the comments section, I don't say this lightly. They have blown through every single opportunity they have to make things right. And then every time they do have a game that people are excited about, like Fable, like Avowed, like any of these damn games, they delay them for some other stupid ass game, and then they delay them into a point of the year to where now I've got to contend with Fable and Resident Evil Veronica. Do you really think I'm going to give a shit about Fable over Resident Evil Veronica, a game that I've been waiting forever to be remade? I'm not. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Every opportunity they take to destroy themselves, and it's weird. Like, it's weird. Like, I get that there's diehard fans and they're going to be pretty mad at this stream, but you know, Clownz and I were talking just before the stream, and it's like it's really hard to watch the downfall of Xbox after 25 years of being fans and seeing so many great things come of it. It really just sucks to watch this in real time, in slow motion, the second coming of the closing of Sega Dreamcast, bro. That's what it feels like right now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different parts of this machine that didn't work out for Xbox right now, right? I don't know if Astra could turn it around or not, and I really hope she can. It did The writing looks like it's on the wall though for a lot of it. It looks like a condensed version of what we known as Xbox to be. And you mentioned a while there for the politics and development. I have different views on that. It never really bothered me, but I've seen like the grifters use that as ammo to destroy studios or developers or these things that or writers, and sometimes you got to think about like it's not the developers, it's not the writers. They have a job to do that they get paid for, and they
Yeah.
want to work, right? Like they want to get that paycheck for their family. So they have to do whatever comes down from management. And whatever management decides is the final product. Whether it's good or not, that's management, right?
Right.
So I get tired of people coming after the devs, and coming after the writers, and coming after the beta testers and the QA. It's like just it's real life, man. Like everybody has a job, and not everybody has to like what they do at their job. There's always going to be stuff that you don't like about your job. And
Yeah.
as far as the with the so-called grifters pushing the culture we're hearing, I got a couple things to say. One is that it doesn't really bother me with the way the characters look on screen, like with K Vests, or like the plain looking. Because I look at
Yeah.
it this way, like in a world where K Vest would live,
Yeah.
would she have access to like all the makeup that girls have today? Like
Maybe. Star Wars is supposed to be far more advanced than we are. I mean, they got
Possibly, but you got to think about like how would they get it to those planets? Where would they buy it from? Like
yeah.
like all these little things. So if they didn't have it on KVS, it doesn't really bother me. And the grifters use that compared, like you said, to Stellar Blade, and there's a whole different cultural aspect to Japanese and anime and manga studios because the whole idea of what they have drawn in their studios is that they draw fantasy versions of characters, right? Like
Right.
really highly detailed, exaggerated
Mhm.
fantasy.
Yep.
And that's their culture and that's okay over there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
maybe yeah, there's nothing wrong if that's what they like. And here K Vest, there's nothing wrong with K Vest.
Yeah.
Like the way I would look at it is I would tell a developer or studio going forward, hey, listen, maybe you don't want to put it on the character or make it in the character for whatever reason, but allow the gamer to choose, like maybe
Yeah.
makeup on the characters or maybe clothes. It doesn't have to be overly
Sexualized, yeah.
sexual. Yeah, it doesn't have to be sexualized, but you can make it a little bit different. And you look at it today, right? Like we see with Gen Z and we see with Gen Alpha, like those baggy pants that Gen X used to wear are coming back. And
Yeah, I've noticed that.
2000
I've noticed
that
that.
early 2000 style of like Christina Aguilera and Paris Hilton, they're coming back too now with the little hats and the purses and the tight shirts, the belly shirt. It's all coming back. So if
Yeah.
Gen Z is starting to embrace that as part of their culture, then that should also possibly maybe reflect in some of the games that they might want to play. And
Yeah.
look at Fortnite, right? If there's any studio that has not fallen victim to
Any of it, yeah.
culture identity crisis, Fortnite kept their characters looking the same throughout the whole thing, and they're
Yep.
highly successful. So
Yep.
I I honestly I don't know where all this comes from, but I think as a player, as a gamer, it never bothered me. And I think if you like the game and you like the story, you shouldn't let it bother you. Do
Yeah.
I think that things should be pushed upon you? Absolutely not. Like I don't when I play a game, I want to play the game for the story, for the fun. Maybe I like the protagonist, maybe I like the antagonist, but I don't want to be pushed things in there that tell me I have to believe certain things. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
keep it like you
absolutely.
always kept it in the 80s and the 90s. Don't interject a lot of stuff that might not apply to the general population.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at what's going on in games right now, and I've grown up, a little bit. I'm 46 years old, and when I look at a character like KVS or some of the other characters, I just think, okay, these I mean, it doesn't I don't really notice it as much until the grifters come out and start grifting about everything. Cause the last thing on my mind was, oh my gosh, dude, KVS, KVS. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about like the Star Wars, the story, the open world, the fun of being able to go to different planets and stuff like that. I was all on that game. Like I bought it and beat it right when it came out and before it even got patched to where now it's even better. And I still like the game. I still gave it an 8. I just wish that the worlds were a little bit bigger. Honestly, that's my only problem with Star Wars, Outlaws is I wish the planets were bigger and I wish there was more exploration, and that's the only problem that I have with it. But I see so many games coming out, and like with Ubisoft being like one of my favorite developers, producers on the planet. I love so many of their IPs. Then when I see just this constant backlash and tax that Ubisoft gets, almost is the same as like Xbox, and it's like what the hell? And then you look across to all the other studios that these guys praise night and day, and you're like, how the hell is this shit any better than what I'm playing? You know what I mean? Like how does it even make sense? There's like there's like this thing that's so broken in gaming right now, and a lot of that I believe is social media and YouTube rewarding this type of rewarding this type of content and hiding like the other content. Do you feel like YouTube buries good content in in exchange for high volume watched trash, so to speak?
It's you know, this is a tough one for me because I've been inside the calls with Google and my partner manager and the classes and stuff that they have for us, and it's like they are actively trying to divert the grift and stuff on YouTube. They are actively trying to push up more natural content, more vlog style content, more stuff that you would watch on your TV. But at the same time, I still don't understand if they're working on this, why we still see the other stuff pop. Like, is it because the algorithm, somebody put it in the algorithm a long time ago for it to always be at the top? Was there somebody that said, "Hey, this channel should always be at the top," and maybe the code's gotten so large nobody ever goes looks at it anymore? I mean, that code is probably massive, right? Like
Yeah.
looking through that code's probably like, where do I even begin?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I'll put out videos, you know, and I don't really care because I'll just keep I do this for fun. I'll keep putting out videos no matter what. Like it doesn't even matter to me, but I'll watch them and they just flatline quick sometimes, and it's like, all right, well that video was pretty decent, I thought, you know, and the likes are really high on it. The watch time is pretty decent on them, and they just flatline like when I leaked the fake GTA 6 date. As
Oh
soon
yeah,
as
I
like
remember that.
as soon as all the other like GTA content creators started talking about it, my views flatlined. It was just like boom, nobody cared anymore. And like everybody was talking about me on like every single platform out there, and it's like, you know, I look at stuff like that and it's like, does YouTube bury smaller creators to protect their bigger ones when it comes to
I
certain
mean,
things?
that's a question I think that even most employees at Google couldn't even answer because I think the code base is so big. So the only way for them to fix that is to go in there and fix the original code. But in my personal opinion, I think there's a case like that. I think that some of the bigger creators are probably locked into somewhere in the algorithm and they're always going to get pushed.
I know sometimes it just gets pretty disheartening, you know what I mean? But I've had videos blow up and do really well until, you know, other creators start talking about it and stuff. But I have like some evergreen content that does pretty good on my channel that keeps my numbers stable enough to where it's like I don't necessarily care. I just keep making those evergreen content. You know, I focus a lot on that stuff. And so like when it first launches, it'll have like 100, 200 views, but then over 6, 7, 8 months, it's up there in the thousands. So I'm pretty happy with the content I make, and I try not to let the day to day thing get to me too much. Um, Xbox. The only way, and this is something I've been thinking about for a while because obviously we all love Xbox and we don't want to see Xbox go the way of Dreamcast. I feel like Xbox needs to be very aggressive, but for throughout the rest of this generation. Um, if they don't have the resources to build or Helix anytime soon, I do think that the next generation needs to be pushed back to like 2028. But they absolutely need to update the specs of Series X, bring out a PlayStation 5 Pro competitor for the rest of this generation because GTA 6 is going to be a massive game and Xbox needs a seat at that table for that game. One way or another, they have to find a way to be front and center because Xbox is Xbox, but Xbox is also Microsoft, and Microsoft is the number one platform for PC gaming. And so with GTA not coming to PC day and date, that basically hands the console thing to PlayStation and makes it very hard for Xbox to even try to dig themselves out of this moat. But now that they've got Call of Duty, not on Game Pass, that might be one of the little wheels to kind of help them dig out of this rut. Call of Duty, at least with Modern Warfare, that's still a very popular series. Hopefully, they need to throw everything they can at this Modern Warfare. This Modern Warfare has to really shine. It has to go above and beyond, and it has to be better than everything before it. And it does already have, the fact that it's not coming to last generation consoles going for it. And so, if this Call of Duty can be big enough and pull in enough people, they might have a chance. But they have to do something to make sure that they don't lose out on that payday with Grand Theft Auto 6. So they have to be aggressive. Either they need to shell out money for marketing rights or something, but I'm pretty sure PlayStation's probably already got that in the bag at this point.
You know, PlayStation's very smart with marketing, man. Like they know how to do those marketing deals very well, and they just keep themselves in the minds of every gamer with the marketing before movies and between streaming shows. Sometimes even the controller showing up in like sitcoms. Like I mean, they're very good at it.
Oh yeah, they
And
are.
you're right. I feel like that Xbox hasn't really been aggressive, and I feel like part of the problem is, and 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 maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if you feel the same way or if other people feel the same way, but I feel like that Xbox has stuck to a certain amount of influencers, right? And I feel like that maybe at the end of the 360 area, going into like the original uh X launch, with
Mm-hmm.
with after Matrick going to Phil Spencer, and maybe they needed that kind of marketing. Maybe they needed those kind of influencers to kind of like be up in center, constantly comparing specs against PlayStation. But I think we're at a point now where influencers are aging out, right? Like
Yeah.
we're like technically we're Gen X, right?
Right.
So why are you gonna have Gen X influencers and even older Gen X influencers that are older than us sell to Gen Z and Gen Alpha?
Yeah, they
Like
don't
they
know
look
how.
at us, they look at us and they're like,
They're like
"Mommy, my
these.
friend plays yeah,
Yeah,
my
they're
my
like,
friend my friend plays a PlayStation, mommy. Why is he so mean against my friends?"
yeah,
You know?
exactly. We got these old ass freaking console war bros still going at this shit. And it's like, yeah, dude, like the younger generation, they don't care. And because my wife's family is so big, there's so many young kids, and it's like every time we go to a family outing or something, these kids are playing Roblox, bro. They don't give a shit about freaking Master Chief or freaking Kratos. They don't care. And that's what Sony and Microsoft just don't understand. Like nobody gives a shit. Like these younger kids don't care about your platforms, but they do care about Switch. How the hell is it that Nin freaking Nintendo can come out with the Switch 2 and sell more consoles faster than any platform ever before it? Why? Because they have the secret sauce and they go after that market. I said this years ago, and my Xbox fans jumped down my throat when I said Xbox should have split this generation. They should have taken Double Fine and all the studios that they're about to close and told them your mandate, build Xbox Series S and go after that Nintendo market. That is all you need to do. Build it. They had plenty of studios to divide, to have some working for Series X content for grown-ups, and they could have went after that market, and they could have, because if you look at Switch 2 versus Series S, basically the same freaking, like they are basically interchangeable in terms of what they can do. And if Xbox would have put out a handheld, they had the power of the Series S right alongside the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, they could have capitalized on that market so hard that, yeah, like they're I just don't understand what they're thinking. It's like the Series S was, yeah, it was a good system. If you're on 1080p, whatever, it usually is pretty good. Like I'm not saying that they should have put but the drag on some of the games that they wanted to put out, having to mandating that they had to work on Series S, it just gave people a reason to go after them because PlayStation didn't have that freaking, they could build for the PlayStation 5 and optimize for it, and it just cost a lot of time for developers to try to target that platform that could have simply been there as an affordable box that people could jump on for Game Pass and then stream Series X games to it. Stream Series X games to it, bro. If they wanted it, they could have done that. Like the people at Xbox, man, sometimes I know that everything they were doing was like, oh yeah, for the greater good for games and blah blah blah, and they were just trying to get people psyched. And but when you're fighting against a company like PlayStation that plays dirty, I love PlayStation to death too, but they're some dirty little scoundrels, man. They didn't give a shit when freaking Nintendo was about to go out. They didn't care about Dreamcast when Dreamcast kicked the bucket. They were just like, all right, yeah, just put your games on PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just I don't know if Xbox could theoretically really come back from this unless they completely cut off Series S right now. And I mean, oh, dude, that would be the best thing for them, man. Just literally turn your developers loose and let them operate, take that system and go after the youth because that is the only way to grow your platform. PlayStation is they're so broken right now, but they do have a good thing going for them because a lot of people are playing Fortnite on PlayStation. You know what I mean? But PlayStation 5 is too expensive. It's way expensive to get a PlayStation 5 when you can slide in with the Switch 2 and still play Fortnite on your Switch 2. And then you're in the Nintendo ecosystem, and parents are a lot more willing to go buy a Switch game for their kids than they are to buy anything from PlayStation or Xbox at the growing moment. Xbox had a lot of opportunities this generation and a lot of goodwill from a lot of us content creators too, and they blew right through that with their insistence on, you know, basically whatever the hell the kumbaya stuff that they were. You can't be kumbaya with PlayStation. You either have to beat them outright or you have to challenge them hardcore. Like you have to meet them where they're at. And PlayStation stumbled so much this generation that this should have been an easy cakewalk win for Xbox, and they didn't do it. They didn't execute on literally anything except for Game Pass. And then they over executed by basically buying Call of Duty and charging people $30. It's like, man, you could buy Call of Duty for $70. Why the hell would I pay a whole year for Call of Duty? And most gamers that play Call of Duty, that's what they play. Maybe a couple other games, but those guys are committed Call of Duty players. And there's a lot of them. So I think Xbox really, you know, you can't force a game like Call of Duty that's a behemoth that makes lots of money. I mean, Strauss Zelnick was right, even about Grand Theft Auto, dude. You can't force a game like that everybody buys hand over fist. You can't force that into a subscription service. Like I didn't understand at first, but I get it. I get it. Xbox really did cannibalize their sales by doing that. Some gamers still buy games, but not enough. When you could get them free, why buy them? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing though. I do. So there's a couple things here that I want to say. Number one, you brought up Nintendo and how they're just always selling. Nintendo doesn't age out, right? Like they don't grow up. They keep the same audience, they keep the same style of games, the same cartoony characters, and it's just family friendly fun. So even us Gen Xers, we like to play those games with our kids, whether it's like Mario
Yep.
Kart, whether it's Donkey Kong. So yes, you're definitely right here. Nintendo knows what they're doing. They also made the handheld so thin that kids could carry it. It's not bulky, it's not
Yep.
hard, and it's just basically like the graphics of a high-end tablet, right? I mean, that's really what
Right.
it is, and these kids love it because it's cartoony, fun, fresh, and it looks good on the screen. So Xbox could have taken instead of doing the whole Series X and kept the series, or I'm sorry, the Series S, keep the Series S going. They could have taken the Series S hardware at any time and made a small, thin, dumbed down handheld out of the Series S, geared it towards kids, cartridge like inserts, right? And voila, would have had like so much mind share with the kids because they could have stylized the designs after Minecraft, after Roblox. They have those big,
Oh yeah.
big pocket change to do that.
Xbox even has the freaking stupid like the labs, bro, for your controllers. You could have designed your own freaking Series S Go or whatever you call it, Series Xbox Series S Go or some shit. You know what I mean? And
I mean, Asha, if you're listening to this, take that idea, Series S Go. It's $1 million idea overnight.
Absolutely. The Xbox Series S Go at an affordable price, same price as Switch 2, okay? And you keep your developers like Double Fine and you give them that mandate. You got Rare, you've got Double Fine, you've got freaking Compulsion Games. You have so many incredible studios that know how to build games for that audience. Cut them loose. Cut them loose. Give them a mandate. Be like, "Hey, like build these games. Those kid games are a lot easier to build than some of these, high end freaking like mo-capped freaking games that just cost a lot of money to build. Yeah, them
Yeah,
cartoon games, are so much easier to freaking probably build for them.
yeah, and I hear like I'm not a big fan of Banjo Kazooie, right? But I know there's a lot of fans of that series out there still.
Oh
If they
yeah.
would have taken Banjo Kazooie and made it like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
kids hand over fist would have
Would
bought that for Xbox
yeah.
Series S Go and played that everywhere.
They would have been they would have freaking loved that, man. I gosh damn Xbox. Why not listen to like some of this stuff? They have to go after Nintendo and they have to go after PlayStation like simultaneously. Like these two companies are eating their lunch and it's easy for them because PlayStation is the default system. Like you said, you watch a movie, you see a PlayStation controller. You know what I mean? Like there's always something like you see a Tesla driving down the road, it's got a PlayStation controller in it. Like the marketing, the default mindset for console gaming is PlayStation. And then the default mindset for kids is the freaking Nintendo, the Switch. Like they're both default. And if Xbox doesn't go after both of them simultaneously at the same time and have a compelling reason to challenge both, like with Xbox, you have the Series S, and then you would also have the Xbox Series S Go. Absolutely incredible. I think that ROG Xbox Ally Xbox Ally, the white one, I think maybe that's got enough power, enough chooch to actually like deliver like Nintendo Switch specs. Cause I mean, I feel like the Xbox Ally X is definitely stronger. I feel like I get much better performance out of that than I do on my Switcheroo number two. But if they could just find a way to build a handheld that basically mimics the same experience that you get on out of the Series S and target that towards kids, they could do a lot of good with that. They really could. Even I mean, shit, all they have to do is put Hall effect joysticks in there and it'd probably be incredible, infallible.
Yep.
They've got the studios to do it, and right now I think they're making the biggest stupid mistake ever. They are they're basically yeah, they're only building more bad will for themselves by getting rid of these studios and being like, well, in order to make the brand survive, we have to kill half of it. And it's like, okay, like I get the whole cutting out the cancer, but you're not cutting out cancer. You're cutting out valuable assets that are assets to you to build a significantly bigger platform that will reach more people. You just have to target it in a way that's actually good for gamers and make it affordable. You know, a parent, as a parent myself, like I'm more willing to buy the Xbox Series S or the Xbox Series S Go for my child, just like I'm willing to buy that Nintendo Switch 2 for my child. I'm not gonna go out and spend $900 on a freaking PlayStation 5 Pro for my 12-year-old child. You know what I mean? I'm not going out. I mean, like with me, when Junior first got to the age where he could play games, I went and bought him a Switch. Actually, I bought him a Wii U first, because I was like, all right, $300, no problem. That's here you go, Junior. I wasn't going to go buy him a $400 PlayStation or a $500 Xbox, Series or Xbox One X. He's like, you're getting a Nintendo, dude. They're $300. They play kid games. I don't want you playing freaking GTA right now while you're freaking 8. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Poor Xbox, man. It sucks to see them go this way. And then, I get it where like Phil Spencer, everybody blames Phil Spencer right now. Like you were saying, Phil Spencer took a massive risk by trying to break down the exclusive walls. You guys need to give him credit for that because he absolutely tried to make it so that we could get away from this whole console war stuff, and so that everybody could just buy games and play them wherever they are. Okay. A lot of us older gamers have always wanted that, but tell me, you've always dreamed about the one console that could play all the games, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, who hasn't, right? Like, I
Because
mean,
because when you're younger and there's a game on the competing platform that you want to play, but you're broke and you can't afford, then you start to build up that resentment, and that's what fanboys are. They're just broke poor people that have built up so much resentment because they can't afford to get both. I don't hold that resentment over PlayStation or Xbox or anything, because I have all of them. I buy all of them, and that's a personal choice that I had to make, to spend that money to be able to do what I want to do and play what I want to play, even if it's just one or two games on the competed platform. Sometimes you have to make the sacrifice so that you can do that. And if not, if you don't make that sacrifice, then you have to sacrifice the games that you could have loved. And then you have to be angry about it, and then you have to turn into a fanboy and be mad all the time and post stupid shit on Twitter and Xbox or on YouTube and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they're not poor. Maybe they're just very, very frugal with their money. We'll just say frugal, price sensitive. I don't know. But
no, I
yeah,
mean, you have something there because people either have a hard loyalty to one because they invest solely in one ecosystem, and then you have people that are limited in the income that they can spend on entertainment. I mean, that's a realistic thing, especially in this economy, right? Like, which parents out there are really gonna go out there and buy all three consoles for their kids right now? I mean, like everything's going up in the economy. It's getting more difficult. Kids got the tablets. Kids got the iPhones. They got all kinds of gadgets now, and it's like
yep,
parents have to choose. Many families have to choose what they're going to put their money into entertainment for their kids. So I get it, but here's the thing: it's our generation, right? It's our
right.
generation that continues the console war. The kids today, even if they only get one PlayStation and they get one Xbox, they're happy with what they have.
Yeah,
You
most of
know,
the time. I
and
think
and
so
they play
anyways.
it. Yeah, like they're just excited to play games and hop on and talk to their friends, and I mean that's all it really comes down to. And like you said, Roblox, right? Like that's one of the biggest games right now. They can play Roblox and anything and talk to each other.
Yep, exactly. And it's crazy wild it's crazy wild that in today's market, like the only thing you see on X is you just see these old guys, man, just like bashing everything. And it's like it like that what's his name? X Fault Gamer, bro. He's such a pony that's always going after the Xbox guys. And I'm like, do you guys even understand like the optics of PlayStation is making the same mistakes? They are actually making bigger mistakes by buying Bungie and then having their game flop, funding something like Concord, or just going after this games of service like relentlessly, basically, taking God of War and making it Goddess of War. And like they just don't understand that like PlayStation is doing the exact same thing. But PlayStation, let's be real, PlayStation has always had like this grace period from the media and fans and stuff like that. Whereas Xbox literally gets taxed all the time. Good, bad, it
But
doesn't matter. There
y-
is a
you know,
tax.
this is part of the problem of the influencers Xbox chose, though, right? So there's a lot of Xbox influence out there that will constantly trash PlayStation, but the minute Xbox does something bad, they will also grift against Xbox, even if they are Xbox influencers, because it gives them traction and they get picked up in the media. You,
Oh
you
yeah.
notice Nintendo influencers, they don't say a word. Nintendo never talks. Nintendo influencers never talk about another brand. They never
Yep.
talk bad about the games or the brand. They just play the games, have fun playing them, talk about what they like. And
Hmm.
real PlayStation influencers out there, we probably don't even know who's a real PlayStation influencer because they're so quiet and positive just
Yep.
about PlayStation, right? We only
Hmm.
see the grifters and the console warriors. And that's the problem. Xbox has kept too many of those console warriors very close to them,
Yep.
whereas all these other brands don't have that. And
Yeah.
now it's starting to eat into the mind share of the brand. Like if you ask a kid to go search on YouTube or X or whatever it is, or TikTok for Xbox, right? And you're like, hey, is that person talking about Xbox doing it in a polite way that you'd want an Xbox? They'd probably be like, no, I don't like what they said.
Yep,
I don't like
exactly.
the way they're talking about everything. You know,
I mean, like,
just
yeah, dude,
doesn't make sense.
I look at all the Xbox influencers, man, and it's like they're either full cope or they're, like they're like overhyping Xbox. You know what I mean? Like literally overhyping stuff. Like you remember Redfall? Like the overhype from everybody that came back after playing it, and then the game came out and it was. I mean, I played it. I didn't. I didn't think it was horrible, but the backlash that those guys got for that, and then like Xbox, it's like Xbox doesn't even pick up on new creators. I mean, they've basically um I mean, I get it, they basically ignored me the whole time, but I was kind of, getting into this thing, and like the fanboys were kind of getting me into the whole console war stuff pretty easy, but I did, obviously I brought a lot of that on myself too, but you know Xbox definitely needs some new creators that actually love the brand and just want to talk about the brand.
Yeah, and they don't need to trash other brands. They don't need to constantly compare. Look at one of the best influencers they have. I think is I Justine, right? Even though she's our generation, she's very positive. She doesn't say anything negative about the other stuff. She talk everything that she talks about. She's just excited to talk about it on camera, right?
Yep.
That's what they need. They need a whole bunch of I Justines, but for Gen Z and Gen
Yep.
Alpha, not just the you know,
Yeah.
I keep beating a dead horse here. And you mentioned the Redfall situation, right? So they all go out and they play Redfall. They all like, yeah, it's so great. I played it. I really loved it. And then the minute the media starts talking bad about it, all those influencers from Xbox that allegedly love Redfall hopped on the Grifton wagon and did a 180 or a 360, whatever you want to say in your terms.
It
And they
was
were just
great
like,
when
yeah,
we played it. It was so good when we
yeah,
played it, but now it's just trash. And
yeah.
it's like, damn, dude. I'm like, I lost respect for a lot of them over that. I was like, dude, I don't care about any of you guys. I used to watch Cold Eastwood and everybody, and now I just don't even care about any of those guys because they basically overhyped this stuff, and it's like, look, you should have called Redfall what it was, an experiment game. Obviously, it was something that they were just trying to get out there for Game Pass. And in that day and age when Game Pass was kind of faltering, when Redfall launched, it was like there was very little exclusives coming out from Xbox, so they were essentially throwing their developers under the bus to try to get the shit out the door. And then when you've got people overhyping it, like they should have just been like, okay, this game is kind of fun. It looks cool. Like they nailed the atmosphere on it. Maybe a little more work, and it would absolutely turn into a cool game. But they just, I mean, what studio was that? Arcane? Was that Arcane that built that?
Yeah,
Arcane
it was
Austin or
Arcane, yeah.
something? And it's like they were better known for, which ones did they build? I think the
Dishonored, I
Dishonored.
think
I
it
think
was.
yeah, I was like Dishonored for those guys, and they try to do something new, and trying to do something new in the gaming industry this generation is an absolute death sentence for studios. I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, this game is not horrible for a free game on Game Pass, for Game Pass fodder or content. But everybody looks at these games and they just, especially from the other side, PlayStation guys were so used to getting their high quality $70 AAA bangers and stuff. And yeah, something like Redfall does not hit that standard, but it wasn't complete trash. Like the shooting felt pretty good. I think they nailed the atmosphere, dude. I thought freaking playing that game was actually kind of cool. I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. I like the atmosphere. There was definitely some issues with it. Maybe they could have made cooler looking characters. Let's be real, but I don't know. It's just everything that Xbox has done, like Starfield, letting that game launch at 30 frames per second was absolute stupidness. Letting freaking Redfall launch at 30 frames per second was absolutely stupid. It's like the mistakes they've made this generation is incredible, and they made them all right at the beginning when everybody was excited and hyped for the new consoles. And now toward the end, it's like, what do they do now? Like, how do they even fix this? How do they go back and regain that mind share because damn, they had a lot of good mind share when they announced the Xbox Series X. People are excited about it. I was head over heels. I was like, "Holy crap." And then you start to see the like immediately as new games from like Unreal Engine 5 and other heavy like you started seeing it immediately. 1080p, 864p. And you're just like, "What the hell, bro? Like what the hell?" It just it everything fell apart very quick this generation um, for both of them. But PlayStation obviously had developers treating that platform as the main platform, so you saw a lot better, you know, you saw a lot better performance out of that than was expected, and you saw less performance out of the Xbox than was expected. So it was kind of crazy, you know, kind of crazy the beginning of this generation, and now here we are. I would like to see Xbox really take what we've said seriously and maybe really consider Xbox Series S Go and go after, you know, that Nintendo platform, you know, throw everything they got at it and see if they can make any headway because as far as Xbox Series X goes, unless they're willing to challenge PS5 Pro, I yeah, everybody's going to buy a Pro for GTA 6, especially if it comes out at 60 FPS only on Pro. Yeah, dude, people are going to be like, damn. But people will know that's bullshit too. Because if the Pro can do 60 FPS, so could Series X. Series X has a stronger CPU. And obviously, it would be 60 FPS at 864p upscaled to 4K with FSR2 or some shit. But 60 FPS is 60 FPS.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that they really need to start thinking about the GTA 6 launch and how are they gonna market this properly to the user base, and do they have enough faith in their user base to want to purchase this game on the platform? You know, I think that's another question too, is that they're going to come up with is like, do we think we have enough consoles out there in the wild to really start pushing GTA 6? Is it really going to be something that people are going to buy our consoles for? And this is where marketing would come in, and marketing should start thinking of ways to incorporate GTA 6 with Xbox. Even if they don't get the exclusive rights to market it, maybe like pay movie theaters to have GTA 6 cups and random scratch off to win a GTA 6 game code or something, right? Something like that. Or maybe you got a lot of Series X's just sitting around at retailers or buybacks or warehouses, then just go ahead and give a bunch of them out. Get people into the platform. Do giveaways, do contests,
They should
maybe movie.
honestly, man, GTA 6 launch, they should drop the price of that thing to $400, $399, and just, hey, man, 399 bucks versus a $900 PlayStation 5 Pro. I guarantee a lot of people would buy that. They would
They would buy
definitely,
into the platform for sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
And the other thing too is like they gave all those consoles out at FanFest. And I get it, like they're, hardcore Xbox fans that went and it was something really cool. But if they
Yeah.
could do that at FanFest, why can't they do that to so many random buyers at like retailers? Like why not say, "Oh, congratulations, you're the 100th customer of the day that bought an Xbox game code. You won a console." Just
Yep.
something that gets people excited, or maybe just have Xbox employees make a deal with Walmart or something, and they see like kids going in with their families to buy like games, and go up to the kids and be like, "Hey, have you ever thought about an Xbox console?" And if they say no, be like, here's a free console. Like give them a card to get it right at that retailer. Because I
Yeah.
guarantee you, if that kid gets a card for free console at the retailer, what's gonna happen?
He's
Mom
going to
and
be
dad are
happy.
gonna buy some games. The kid's gonna be happy because mom and dad's like, wow, we got a great deal. We got it for free. So let's buy our kid Timmy some games on this platform.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I just
I think Microsoft really does need to do something like that. They do have the money. They've already got the consoles built. They're already sitting on shelves. A mass across the board, just we're dropping the price. It even if it's just to clear out stock, it is what it is, you know. Clear out stock, get more people in there to that Xbox before GTA 6 launches. That would literally be their best bet instead of being like, "Oh, well, the prices are high." It's like, "Look, you're already losing your ass on this shit anyways. You might as well at least try to recoup some of that through sales or Game Pass subscriptions one way or another. You know, if somebody's got an Xbox, they're more likely to buy a subscription if they don't got the money to buy the games. And if they've got all they've got's an Xbox, they're more likely to buy GTA 6 on their Xbox instead of trying to buy a $900 PlayStation 5 Pro to get it. Like Xbox, they have options. They definitely have options, but like this bad optics, if Ashra Sharma, instead of coming out and being like, yeah, Xbox is down in the dirt, we're like 3% accountability and blah blah blah, we got to make hard choices, came out and said, you know what, we just had a banging ass show. People were hyped. People were excited to see what we had to offer. Starting today, Xbox Series X $399, Xbox Series S $199 with a 3-month Xbox Game Pass subscription. Oh my gosh, dude. Nobody would have shut up about that. They'd have been like, gosh damn, PlayStation is this much. And they could have capitalized on that and at least took things out a little bit further, to where, okay, don't admit defeat right now. Like, you never want to do that because now everybody just piss poor mood. Everybody's doom and gloom. Xbox is dead. Blah blah blah. The cycle just keeps turning and turning and turning. And they could have just done that. But now if they were to come out and be like, all right, we're dropping it to $399, they're like, ah shit. They're just trying to get rid of stock. Trying to get rid of stock so that nobody so that they don't have to be stuck with all these consoles. And they're dumb, dude. They picked the wrong girl to lead that Xbox, man. They really did. Like, she came out taking victory laps and stuff, being like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna cut the price of Game Pass and remove Call of Duty." It's like, remove all AAA games from Game Pass, make it freaking $10, and then only put those games in there like a year later. Like, Game Pass, people will still buy that because it's $10 and it is cheap. You will still have residual income coming in for that. And if you still want to make deals with third party developers, do that. But your first party games, at least your high end AAA games like your Call of Duty, your freaking Fable, your Forza Horizon 6, no, those are your system sellers. Like, don't give them away. And Forza Horizon 6 is going to do very well on PlayStation. Even Halo is going to do well on PlayStation. But that takes another chunk out of Xbox as a platform right to live. You know what I mean? Like, what right do they have to live without their most profitable franchises? If you could buy them and play them on a PlayStation, why would you care about an Xbox? And
Well, so something I want to say here is I don't think Ash is dumb. I think that I think that all the CEOs of Xbox are tied. I think their hands are tied by the board in Satya. I think they have a directive that they have to follow to keep the board happy. And I think the board is the most important thing at the end of the day for those CEOs because the board could just shut down the whole thing immediately. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I do think that I wish that maybe she had a stronger voice to go back to the board and say, hey, let's just cut the console prices at $399, even if it's for a limited time up through the holidays, cut down the Series S, clear the stocks for $199 so that we get all this off the shelves, we get people back into the ecosystem. I mean, that would be a really smart move, right? Because if you're
yeah,
selling stuff, you're getting people back into the ecosystem. And
yeah.
that is where people need to be. Because right now, there's a lot of people that sold their Xboxes. There's
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
people that gave up and already sold their Xboxes once Game Pass went up, right?
Yep.
So you gotta get those customers back. And North America is your biggest market. And when you start kind of like North America start losing giving up the console,
Mm-hmm.
there's an issue for your brand there. So you got to get them back somehow. And if you can't get the Gen X generation back, stop focusing on that. Start focusing on the
Focusing on
younger
them.
generation because
Yep.
yeah, because
Absolutely.
The Gen X parents will still buy it for their Gen Z kids, even if the Gen X parents don't play it anymore. The whole
Yep.
COVID situation was a big thing for the game industry because everybody was sitting at home playing and all this and that. And I think they just over predicted the market there, and
Absolutely.
they kind of messed up their projections to shareholders.
Oh
All the
yeah.
companies did.
I think that, yeah, they all freaking over exaggerated this stuff. They need to tamp down like how long it takes to make games too. They absolutely have to bring that back into to I don't like, even with PlayStation, I don't want to wait 7 years to play a new freaking God of War game every damn time. Like I just don't I yeah, I don't have that desire to sit and keep waiting and waiting and waiting for forever for these to happen. That's why I'm really hoping that the remakes come out quick, because I'll probably just buy those and be done with God of War. Um, so, do you think Xbox is dead, or do you think we'll see some form of Xbox maybe get out of consoles for a little while, but then come back after, truly making like a real plan? Or what do you think?
I think Asha's got one shot at this. I think, just the way that she's acting, I think the board probably gave her one shot and said, listen, turn the brand around, or we're going to consolidate the brand and liquidate it to just be a third party publisher. So I think that she's trying to figure ways to cut costs and bring back revenue, and trying to gain the faith of the consumers again. And gifting the consoles out was a good sign of gesture at the fan fest, but she really needs to gear it towards Gen Z. And I think that if you cannot capture the hearts of Gen Z in the console space, I think then you're going to lose out. And I think at that point, you're going to really start closing stuff down, because Gen Z is the future lifeblood of these businesses. They're the ones that are going to spend the money. They're the ones that are going to ask their parents to buy stuff. They're the ones going to college now with their friends. They're going to have those LAN parties or online parties like Gen X used to have with Halo. So that is the mind. If I could say one thing to Xbox right now, drop all your Gen X influencers except for iJustine. Find Gen Z influencers and Instagram influencers and market the crap out of your brand to these younger generations. Put Minecraft front and center. Minecraft Dungeons 2. Make a Banjo Kazooie that is just like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Xbox Series S. Go with the old hardware. Don't throw it away. Don't write it off. Turn it into a portable device like you suggested. Make it thin like the Switch 2. Make it fun. You know, everything is going digital, so you get that out there in the hands of the kids, and they're just gonna buy left and right on the platform. Even if they're buying microtransactions through Roblox or Fortnite on that, you're getting a cut of the pie. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Even if they're just my Game Pass subscriptions, bro, like get that damn hardware to those kids so that their parents are buying them, man. Like, yeah, Xbox Series S Go is probably the best option for Microsoft that they can actually do, because they need to go after that Nintendo market. That's the market that truly matters. Going after PlayStation is kind of pointless. They've already got all their heavy hitters on PC, so going after like the people that can actually afford to buy a PC is kind of just dumb at this point. But yeah, going after the kids with Xbox Series S Go would probably be their best foothold. And Nintendo's a tough cookie too. Let's be real. Nintendo is a very steep challenge for Microsoft, but they would have a lot better time going after them, and then still building like clearly their other games for like Xbox Series X to keep our generation, engaged. But that would be where if I was Asha Sharma, that's where I would be focusing everything, is toward Xbox Series S platform. I'd make it affordable fast, and I would try to get adoption for that as quick as possible. And the same for Series X. Just drop the price to $400 and just let it play out however it's going to play out. That would bring a lot of goodwill for people, especially with PlayStation. PlayStation doesn't have the capital to cut their consoles like that. Um, Xbox does. They've got stock out there they could just liquidate at this point, and try to build up some goodwill. So let's go ahead and move this over to AI, man. You've been doing a lot of stuff with
Oh
AI
yeah.
lately, and everybody hates AI because nobody understands AI, and we haven't really seen a real compelling um, use of AI in games other than just upscaling at this point. But there are some people out there that have done some cool stuff with AI that could be brought to games to broaden the scope of games in a way that we have never even considered. And I've been talking about this a lot, having NPCs basically controlled by LLMs. What do you think? Do you think that is a possibility? And tell everybody what you've been doing with AI.
So yeah, so I've been diving deep into AI, and I become a fan of AI. I was a skeptic of it, and from being a skeptic about it and testing out all these different platforms, whether you're talking about like the Gemini search, and you're talking about the Chat GPT search and all, and from there I kind of got more involved and started looking at more development and vibe coding and command line interfaces, and so everybody's a skeptic of AI because everybody thinks that AI is going to steal jobs. AI is not necessarily going to steal jobs, but it is going to get rid of the people that don't care about their jobs. The people that are complacent and don't do their jobs well, it's going to replace them because AI is going to do the job more efficiently and do it better. What is going to happen is that companies are going to hire people that are more like prompt engineers and can actually prompt tokens properly without spending excessive amounts of money, and they'll have teams. They'll have like prompt engineer 1, prompt engineer 2, prompt engineer 3. They may get paid less than regular developers because they're more entry level to medium level, right? And then they'll have their back end teams that might be smaller, like their red hat teams or their black hat teams, to see if the codes can be hacked and patched and bug fixes and all that. So it's going to create opportunity on all ends. You just got to look at it properly. And Todd McFarlane actually made a great point about this. And Todd McFarlane, for all the people that don't know that, he is the creator of Image Comics with a couple buddies. Now he's like the guy that runs everything over there, created Spawn, created all those massive toy lines. And he actually said on a podcast recently, he's like, he doesn't understand why people are so against AI, because he said he could hire people. He's still going to need to hire people, but he's going to hire this guy, and this guy. And he's going to say, listen, I need you to make a design for a cartoon weapon, right? Like a gun, let's say, like a cartoon gun or something. So the guy designs it, and he gives Todd McFarlane maybe three different designs that he spent hours working on. And Todd might be, and he's like, I might say, okay, they're mediocre, but now that guy uses AI to help design that. Now I have 20 designs, and one of them's bound to be cool that I can give to an animator that I'm still going to hire to put that in the cartoon. And Todd makes a very great point here, is that it's going to create opportunity. And the people that maybe aren't the best artists in the world can utilize that and kind of like capitalize on the fact, like, okay, I got this design, and maybe it's not the best design in the world, but I can run it through AI and make it so much better. Because we're going to get to a point where it's going to be more efficient and more opportunistic and more affordable for companies like Todd or Image to hire people that do art plus AI versus just hiring top artists all the time, because those top artists are getting higher and higher in price because the skill is getting harder and harder. And eventually, you're going to be paying $20,000 for a book cover, $40,000 for a book cover, when you can hire entry level artist right out of college that can use AI plus art and maybe pay him $1,500 for the book cover. So I mean, there's opportunities there for everybody, and those major artists are still going to sell their arts in like art museums and art galleries to collectors that want to put them up on the wall and mansions, and they might pay $100,000 at the point for that piece of art. So everybody's still going to get a piece of the pie. It's just going to be split differently.
Absolutely.
And and AI, when it comes to game development, it's almost like the same thing. We have devs now that are saying, "Oh, if you put it in here, it's gonna mess everything up," or we're gonna lose our jobs," and this and this. Well, listen, there's a lot of people that work for companies in development roles that are just getting by. And I'm not saying they're not talented, but maybe they're hired for a position that they don't know the most about, and they're just getting by. Maybe their friends are helping them, whatever, whoever at the company. Or maybe they are getting written up every other month and we don't know it, and they're just not good at their job. But AI is going to come in, and the skilled developers are going to be able to use AI to augment their work. So instead of spending 2 weeks on bug fixes, they could do their code, give it to AI, and AI could probably squash it out in 48 hours and be like, here's the code, here's the bug fixes, here's what I changed, review this, approve it, or don't approve it. And voila, you've just
Yep.
saved so many man hours. You're getting your games out faster. Gamers are going to be happy that they have a game that they can play instead of waiting, I don't know, 8 years now for a development cycle,
7 years for
and
God of War.
and
Yeah,
billions of dollars like in GTA spent, right? Like you could just, I mean, you could save so much money. And what's his name? Tim Sweeney from Epic, I
yeah,
think. Am I saying his name right? He talks so much about the positivity of how AI can augment. He's not saying, "Hey, I'm going to replace everybody with AI," but he's saying, "Learn AI, and if you don't learn AI, you might be out of the business eventually because it's going to become a skill like typewriter, like word processor,
hmm,
and typing on a computer, right? It's just a skill. It's not a replacement. We can argue all day against these people that hate AI, and we could tell them, listen, the horse and carriage replaced the automobile, replaced the horse and carriage. Alarm clocks replaced window knockers. Street lights replaced the candlelight people.
yeah.
Nobody's selling pencils anymore because you got tablets and you could type on your smartphone. So
Yep.
yes, technology improves the lives of everyday people. Now, some people might be like, "Whoa, oh no, AI is evil. It's gonna turn into Terminator, and the whole world's gonna be upside down, and our games are gonna come after us." No, listen, you need a human behind AI right now. It's not at the AGI portion of AI yet. Could we get there? Sure, militarily, yes, but there's going to be safeguards, and I think there's always going to be ways to kind of shut them down. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, I think there's always going to be ways the companies can handle it. AI is just so beneficial, and one of the great things that I like about AI is that instead of having an encyclopedia at my house, instead of having to go and search on Google, I can use a local language model and ask questions, and it will pull answers just like if I looked it up in an encyclopedia. And
Yep.
I'm not paying ChatGPT, I'm not paying Google. It's my own local models that I'm running. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand is that you can run local models on your computers. You don't have to pay these big companies. There's a lot of what they call open weights on Hugging Face, and you can download and you can start getting in with Olama, Llama CPP, VLLM, and there's so many ways to contribute right now. Um, and just for reference, that's what I've been doing. I've accidentally become uh, accidental AI developer, I guess you could say. I created specialized quants for AMD that work on Strix Halo and RDNA 2 through RDNA 4, or possibly even past that. And it runs models faster than the NVIDIA Sparks can with NVFP4. That was what I targeted, and I created it, and it works. And now the community is running with it. They're helping improve it. So there's just, I mean, I love AI, man. What can I say? Like, there's
Yeah.
advantages to everything.
I love it too, man. We recently just bought an EV car too, man, and that was one thing that, being an older, mechanic and stuff, you just look at that and you're like, damn, these things are dumb, blah blah blah. And man, it is probably one of the coolest cars I've ever freaking driven in my life. And AI, very fascinating, man. I love prompting it. I love playing around with it. Clearly, I bought an RTX 5090. I'm really wanting to get Strix Halo, the new one, or NVIDIA Spark. Either one of them. Um, I'm really wanting to stay with AMD because I love AMD. I just feel like they're um, I don't know, man. I feel good. I have a warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart for AMD. I always have, always will. But yeah, Nvidia, it's definitely good. But like you're saying, if there's a way to use AMD and it's just as fast, that's the that's the only thing. Like I know AMD has quality products. Okay, I know that there's a way that people can find to utilize AMD silicon just as good, if not better than Nvidia's. I know they can. Like, but there's just not enough people that give a shit enough to do that for AMD. They would much rather invest that all into. You stop. Mommy will be home in just a minute. Mommy will be home in just a minute. Now that we're talking about AMD, got to change the light to red. But
Oh, I don't know if I could. I don't know if my lights are working. Let me see. But go ahead.
but yeah, with AMD, I know there's developers out there like yourself. You stumble across something or you build something, while trying to do something else, and there is so much discovery that developers could literally be doing for AMD. Because I mean, like, I know that AMD makes good hardware. It's absolutely impressed the crap out of me. Hold on, let me let her out real quick. Just out shit of this room. Sorry, man. I just had to let the dog out. She's
Oh,
just in here whining the whole time, and it's yeah. But what I was saying is, there's plenty of developers out there that will that could probably be finding these incredible ways to utilize the AMD hardware, but there's just not enough of them because everybody's basically stuck in CUDA. And I'm not saying that CUDA's bad at all. Obviously, CUDA is very very good and very efficient, but I feel like it's over bloated like Windows is now, to the point where like AMD, like if you're building a full new system for AMD, you could skip all of the things that are unnecessary and you could literally develop, because obviously there's other companies out there that are building different chips that are better at just doing something like prompting, uh that are good at running, different types of, what do they call them again, different types of, oh my,
LLMs.
no, not LLMs, the inference. The inference are they're built specifically for one type of inference that can do it faster. Whereas like with your if you're using like an NVIDIA GPU, yeah, they're good at certain things, but then um maybe they're slower at other things. But you've got like, I think what is it, Amazon, that's building their own chips that handle the exact thing they need them to handle much more efficiently and cheaper than what it costs to buy an Nvidia chip. That's the thing, is like gamers, when you buy an Nvidia GPU, you are buying a freaking workhorse that does everything. You're buying like a jack of all trades. Whereas with, you know AMD or something, like you're buying a gaming GPU because that's what they make, because that's all they basically can make, because that's all that anybody uses an AMD GPU for. And so you're not paying for all that extra added fluff that everybody else in the world has demand for NVIDIA GPUs, but they're just a cluster of everything. So, you're basically all paying the same price for the same product when you don't need a lot of what you're buying. Like right now, we're using a 5090, and that's just overkill for what we're doing right now.
No, I mean you're really right, right? So when it came to AMD versus Nvidia and AI initially, I will tell you that I had a 3060. I didn't have anything else. So I was operating on a 3060, and all the Nvidia bros were like, "Oh, hey, you can't do anything on a 3060 with AI." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean I can't do anything with 3060?" And they're like, "Oh, your card's only 12 gigabytes VRAM. It can't run anything good. It's going to be slow." And I was like, "Let me prove you wrong." So I started looking into optimization, and I heard about Google DeepMind coming out with what they called initially Turbo Quant. And then I found, shout out to Tom Turney, who's a former Google developer, and he came up with Turbo Quant before Google released it, I guess you could say. Like he started studying all the research papers and he made his own version of TurboQuant. And I was like, this is just what I need to prove everybody wrong in the NVIDIA space. So I took TurboQuant, optimized the flags, put it on that 3060, and I was running stuff at almost like 60, 70 tokens a second decode speed with coherency at 262K context. And for a lot of people that might not know, context size is like the window size before it compacts or forgets stuff up there. And that's like a pretty decent sized window for a home lab, right? Like, I mean, frontier models can go up to like past millions, but home stuff, most people run at 64 or like 32. So getting 262 was like, people were like, oh, wow, how did you do that? So I made a whole thing on GitHub and how to optimize the card for that, and people got really excited. And I saw AMD announce the Halo box. I was like, oh, whoa, I could optimize this for AMD if only I had one. And AMD reached out to me and they're like, oh, hey, if we got you one, what do you think you could do with it? You know? And I told them. So and a shout out to AMD. I would like to thank them. They sent me a framework computer, Strix Halo, and I got a hold of that. Within 12 days, I optimized and created specialized AMD kernels called Brock M FP4 to compete with NVIDIA's NVFP4. Now I'm starting a whole family called Rock M FPX, and it will run models faster than people can run with NVFP4 on NVIDIA. And I did it. I made a lot of it with AI. I understood some of the code base, fixed some of the code myself, understood most of it with AI, and that thing is just, it's taken off. And I think I I just proved that you can get AMD, you could buy AMD hardware and you can run AI models fast, whether you want to run it under the Rock M stack or whether you want to run it under the Vulkan stack. It doesn't matter. It's going to work. Vulkan's typically faster right now. They are still working on Rock M, and as Rock M improves, the speeds on Rock M on AI are going to improve with the Rock M FP4 kernel as well.
How fast do you think I could get? Which one would you use, the 7900 XTX or the 9070 XT for LLMs? Or do you think I should just bite the bullet and grab framework? Because they sent me a framework desktop. I was able to use it for a few weeks, but I had to send it back. That Strix Halo was pretty damn badass. I really liked it, but I only had like a 32 gig model with the 385
Oh wow.
max. Yeah.
You know, so this is where it comes down to preference, right? So you have to decide what your goal is with AI and then tune that to your goal. So right now, when it comes to developing like video generation or image generation, NVIDIA still has the home lab support. So people like Comfy UI, a lot of their developers develop video towards the CUDA stack, right?
Right.
AMD is starting to catch up. It's just not where I want it to be yet. I haven't gotten the chance to develop for that, but I'm slowly going to work towards that. Well, it's just going to take longer because there's a lot more complication with video gen.
Yeah. I need to definitely get into this AI thing a lot more. Like I'm still in the process of just learning how to prompt it. Um I'm not really like tech savvy in terms of like coding or anything like that, but I would like to learn at least some entry level coding so that I could do something, because that would be cool. Do you have a background in coding or something?
No, no background in coding. I just stumbled onto this and I was just very persistent and just ran with it and I didn't stop. Like I just kept going. Like I on Codex, I hit goal and I said, "This is what I want you to create. Do not stop until you create this." And that month, fortunately, I had 10 times the usage from Chat GPT for 5.5 from OpenAI because I tried to go to their get together and got declined. So they gave me a 10 times usage for the month. And I mean, that just really took off from there. And then I just, I did it, man,
So
from there.
you basically use the AI to create a faster way to use AI on the AMD platform. That's pretty badass. And was this like a? Did you have to pay? Are these were like was this like paid AI or something that you were using, like Claude GPT or something like that?
Uh, so initially, yes, the Chat GPT I did have to pay for. It was like $20 a month for the pro plan. And before that, Chat GPT had this thing where if you had registered as a business, you would get to you could get a 30-day free trial. So I'm gonna be honest with you here. This is where I maximize 30-day free trials a lot, um, off business, and then kind of went to the sorry, I'm trying to fix my lighting here to red for AMD. There we go. All right, there.
Yo,
That's a little. There we go. I got the red going now. It's
AMD
not as good as your
bros,
camera. Yeah.
AMD bros.
So
We're rocking
tech support. I got a red shirt. You know, we're good. AMD
it.
bros.
Oh man, this is fun. Yeah, like I want to get into that too. So Claude, like, is it Claude that does the code, that writes the
So
code?
you have a couple. You got ChatGPT 5.5 right now, which is OpenAI's frontier model. You got Google Gemma 3.5 Flash, which is Google's frontier model, and you got Claude, which right now is on Opus 4.8, which is Anthropic's model. And they also have like Sonnet and Haiku as well. So it's just really your pick and what you're more comfortable with. Gemini 3.5 Flash is really good for like video gen, image gen, but they're not as great with coding. ChatGPT 5.5, excellent with coding, and you get long coding sessions out of it. Anthropic is supposed to be top of the line for coding, but you hit their limits faster. So like if you're paying $20 a month, you're gonna hit your limits a lot faster on them versus like ChatGPT. And then you
So
also have XAI Grok now coming out, Super Grok,
okay.
which has shown a lot of promise. There's some people that have built AI benches off of that, like to test, and there's nothing wrong with it. So it's really your choice what you prefer.
How much money do you think, if you had to pay, um isn't there a better one than $20 a month?
Yeah, I mean they all pretty much go up to like $200 a month.
That's like
So
some
if
really serious stuff. Like, is that unlimited freaking tokens or no?
no, no, but it's 20 times more the usage, and you get more opportunities for like Codex has a 5 hour window. So every time your 5 hour window hits, you have to wait a little bit to use it again. But if you're having 20 times the limits, I mean, you could just keep flying, you know? I'm not sure what Anthropics is when you get the $200 plan, but you just pretty much get more limits and probably more compute sessions out of it.
Because I would love to start learning how to do some code and make some cool stuff for AMD. Just be like an AMD developer. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing, man. But could definitely, just prompt and get what, results like you did, right? I'm not. I'm
I
not. I'm
took
not saying.
it,
I'm not saying if you could do
that
it,
one.
anybody could. No, I'm just.
No, I get it. I mean, there's people that I've started talking to that have also started utilizing, different code engines for frontier models, and I mean they're catching on too. So it's just like I think it's persistence, right? Like if you're persistent with it, you're gonna learn how to prompt it for the way that you want to prompt it. Because you
Right.
might have a specific goal in mind, and once you get those prompts down, you're gonna get to your goal.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna learn, you're gonna mess with it, you're gonna get to your goal, and you're gonna achieve what you want. Google is probably the easiest to start out with because they have something called AI Studio now, which you can just go on the website, AI Studio for Google, and you type in like a program you want it to make, and it will make an Android app for you or make this for you. Then you can see the code, the back end. But the best place to really, really dive deep if you want to get into deep learning is the command line interfaces. Cursor AI is not bad either. Now it's also owned by Grok, but I mean they're good. They're really
Yeah.
good. The command line interfaces.
Like Grok is in X, or Grok AI, or just Grok?
XAI's Grok. Yeah, it's Elon's Grok. I think they got like 4.3 out now.
Nice. Yeah, I've got to do something because I know I can download that stack on my AMD builds and stuff, and obviously I could do it on the 5092, but I'd like to do it more on the AMD side. So it's just kind of where I'm at. I mean, I know my 7900 XTX has 24 gigs, and then I've got 32 gigs of RAM. How much much do you really need to start doing all that? I mean, you started doing it on a freaking 12 gig freaking 3060,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you can do it on as little as 12 gigs. Some people even got some 4 billion per hour models running on Raspberry Pis. They're not super fast, but they work, like 10 tokens a second, maybe less, but you got the 7900 XT, you could probably still run models on that.
Explain tokens. Tokens are the prompts every time the AI gives you a feedback, right? So every
Yeah,
time
so
AI
it's like
infers something back to you is that's a token.
yeah, and I'm not sure how it completely calculates the tokens, but they're starting to put the cost into these interfaces so that you can kind of see like how much it's costing you in tokens to run these prompts. And there's no really set baseline. I say that because if you use open code, for example, like open code go, they're they're I don't know if they would really want to call it an IDE, but they're kind of like IDE or interface. they they burn tokens a lot more because they use more tokens to prefill. So it just depends on how the actual frontier model that you're using determines that. And I think there's no set standard on what's going to cost how many tokens, but every time you input and it reads that's that costs tokens. Every time it outputs, that costs tokens. Anytime you feed it a document to read, that costs more tokens. So everything adds up in tokens. And when I was building the Rock M FP4 family, I was probably burning, man, I want to say over sometimes 40 million tokens a day.
It's a lot of tokens. How much? So they don't even really have a standard pricing yet for AI use, do they? I mean, they have their things, but they're not generating enough income to be sustainable at this point. So they need to find a way to basically get people like you and me excited about it, so that we're actually funding this as well. And with the consistent negativity toward AI, you just have this thing where, and this is kind of my thought about it, is like, okay, you've got companies like Microsoft and all these guys that are funding it right now. Basically, they're telling their employees to use it. They're saying, hey, get good with this. But then they're starting to run into this like cost that is too much for these companies, and they're starting to tell them to back off, right? Well, the only other entity out there with the money to fund AI would be the government, and through our tax dollars. And so if we as individuals do not start taking AI seriously and start finding a way to make it work for us, and then having that, because if we all collectively join into AI and we start using it in our daily lives, costs will come down. Because then you'll have the companies that are using it, you'll have funding through us, us using it through our like $20 subscriptions or whatever, with our limited access, but and then giving us the option to obviously pay more to get better. Um, I don't want to see AI fall by the wayside, and I definitely don't want to see it go into the government's hands, because nothing ever good happens when the government has full control over a technology like AI. Um, so, like, I'm right there with you. I feel like we as individuals, as the consumer market, they need to find a way to market it to consumers so that consumers will help fund it, essentially. you know not And there's enough of us tech nerds out there that want to, but we don't even know where to start. So, because that's where I'm sitting, it's like, where do I even start? Like, yeah, I can prompt it, I can have it make pictures for me and shit, and that's cool. Like, that's fine. Would I pay a $10 or $20 a month service for that? Probably not. You know what I mean? I don't use it enough. But if there was other things that I could fully dedicate, like, oh my gosh, dude, this is cool, like building like a program or doing some stuff, that's going to actually help, with my business or something like that. Like, these guys, I get it, when you're a nerd and you're like building this thing and the end goal, and you're just like, okay, like, people are going to really love it when it's done, but you don't know how to really get people excited about it. Sam Altman, you know what I mean? Like, you need to find somebody out there that can market this shit and help you find a way to get people novices into being able to use this so that they can feel like they're contributing to like this bigger idea or vision that some of these guys have right now. That there would go a long way. And another thing, there's another front. They need to get game developers truly, because everybody's thinking about it the wrong way. You get DLSS 5 that comes out and just muddies the water. Okay, they're like, oh my gosh, it's changing to blah 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 and shit. And like, trust me, I felt the same way. I was like, well, what about the developers, artistic, whatever? If you show it off on a game like Resident Evil 9 Requiem, where we've already played through the game, we've already grown accustomed to the characters, we already see what they look like, and then all of a sudden you've got this other filter that comes out and changes the way that the character completely looks, that puts a bad taste in gamers' mouths. Whereas if they were to use that before the game even came out, nobody would have ever known, and everybody would have been like, "Yeah, this is freaking awesome." You know what I mean? Because that's the first thought I got when I saw those images. Is I was like, "Holy shit, the lighting, the skin textures! Holy, this looks incredible." And so they need to find a way to use LLMs to power the NPCs in our open world games. Like they have to do that. They have to do that. They have to be able to monetize it. Obviously, you know, Ubisoft sells you an open world game, and you've got the LLM one that you could pay a subscription for, or you've got like just the regular base game that's the same dumb AI that you've always had. You know what I mean? Like find a way to have companies be able to monetize this, and use these LLMs, because think about it. An Assassin's Creed game with LLMs that pretty much just are completely programmed and focused on the Assassin's Creed, time periods. You know what I mean? Like that would definitely make a difference in a lot of these games, to a point where gamers would give a shit about it, because the immersion level could be so much better when you're just exploring or doing whatever. You like walk up to and obviously you can have like a voice. You could talk to the LLMs, and then like they would freaking talk back to you, dude. It would just be absolutely incredible. I don't understand why that is not. I mean, maybe they're just waiting for the next generation for NPUs to actually be able to handle that, on the systems or whatever. Because right now they would basically have to do through the cloud like they did with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It would be cloud AI. Like obviously, that's how they would have to do it right now. But right now start it that way so that you are paying for like a cloud subscription to do that. But latency and stuff like that might come in. But once you start getting NPUs and next gen consoles, it might actually work.
Yeah, I still don't understand the fuss between all that, right? Like I think that if a company wants to utilize it and they make the agreement with Nvidia to utilize it, that's on the company to make that decision. I mean, once here's the other part of it too, right? Like artists are saying, "Oh, I don't want my work to be updated or not." Right? Let's just say that an artist out there for a company saying, "Oh, I don't want them to do that to my artwork." Well, guess what? If you were hired by, let's say, Rockstar, and Rockstar hired you to put art in that game, they now own that art. And if they want to take that art and run it through NVIDIA's DLSS 5 or whatever AMD's frame generation would be, they have that right because they own that art. You don't own it anymore. And I think there's this problem where people want to latch on to, I created this and I own it. Yeah, but who paid you to create it? Because they actually own it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not like completely against DLSS 5. I mean, yeah, some of it looked a little uncanny valley, but that's just the nature of it. It will get better. Like it will evolve and it will continue to grow and get better. I mean, we've seen that. When DLSS first launched, everybody hated it. When DLSS 3.5, when I started PC gaming, I didn't like it. I thought it would look like crap. DLSS 4 comes along and I'm like, holy shit, this looks a lot better. FSR 4.1 comes out and I'm like, damn, this is getting good. I cannot decipher between native 4K and upscaled 4K now. Like I can't. I run everything with DLSS or FSR now, just because I like the performance more of what I'm getting. So if we get to a point where like, okay, well now we've got generative AI in our games, like with DLSS 5, and it actually makes things look better. Um, or maybe if we had a little bit of control over it, like like say, okay, well, we don't want it to look super real. We want it to look kind of cool. I don't know. I just feel like, I just feel like the future of AI is a lot more exciting than a lot of people think, because you just have so many people out there that are taking a negative stance on it. You know what I mean? It's like you were saying earlier, like the horse-drawn carriage is replaced by cars and shit. And so you've got the horse-drawn carriage bros out there like completely against any kind of evolution. And it's like, I get it, bro. Like it makes sense, but pretty soon in 5 years, nobody's going to give a shit about this, and it will be the standard. So I mean, fight all you want, but the standard will be new. But I don't know. I usually take up that white knight thing, trying to protect my best good favorite companies from total destruction, and I just don't know if AI is the sword I want to die. No, I'm just joking. I like AI. I think it's cool. I wish that more people would at least be open minded about it instead of being ignorant. Like don't be ignorant. I was against DLSS and all of that shit, but I was always open minded. Okay, I still own an RTX GPU, but I prefer AMD. Um, it's just one of those things where there's multiple different things that could come out of this that are good, but there is a lot of things that could absolutely be used for the destruction of humanity with AI, bro. It's just like guns, bro. Guns can save people or they can kill people. You know what I mean? It's there's always that chance to use everything for evil, and hopefully there's enough good people that use AI to better humanity. That's all I can say about it. But do you have anything else to add to AI, or should we move on to something a little bit more, I don't know, PC gaming, the fall of PC gaming?
Well, I'm just gonna leave the audience with some food for thought here, and they could post in the comments. This is a great debate. So when we think about AI and we think about autonomous vehicles, right? Like you could get in a vehicle like a Tesla and it could drive itself, right? So I want you to think about something. It's very convenient for people that have, let's say, like sleep disabilities or disabilities where they don't have the awake function consistently, maybe to drive long distances, right? So there's benefits to humanity there, right? But then you had mentioned the government oversight and kind of like the destruction of, I don't know, your rights as a human. And now you have this autonomous vehicle, and it could probably be remote controlled by a government somewhere, right? Let's just say. And maybe if you are speeding on the toll lane and you forgot to pay the toll, the government could hit a button that says, pull over the autonomous vehicle. We're going to send a squad car. And you're stuck on the side of the road till that squad car pulls up, right? So, and the other thing is they're always going to know where you're at too with a car like that. Like if they ever really wanted to, it's got GPS and all those things in there. And you probably have to pay extra for it, but it's going to be in there anyway. Just like a cell phone, they could track you now. They're going to be able to do the same thing with those autonomous cars and control speed limits and maybe stop all these crashes on the highway. But it's we're going to get to a point, and that's food for debate for your audience to think about. Is it good? Is it bad? How can it help? How can we prevent the oversight?
And how do we protect those that are most vulnerable to, like our older generation, the people that just aren't old enough to really understand the complexities of some of this stuff? How do we create a new technology like this that's going to push the world forward, but also leave those that are unable or unwilling to adapt and overcome to that? So when you think about AI, my friends, um, getting it into the hands of the government is probably the most dangerous thing, because especially here in America, where our politicians are so divided, you know, um, you never know which side's going to do what. You never know if they're going to use it nefariously, if they're going to use it for good. So that's one thing that, like, we as consumers should really take it seriously and make it so that, like, these companies are just as um they hear us too, because once you get the government in there, bro, they don't hear you no more. They just don't. And that to me is probably my most worrying thing about AI is, government overreach and government control, as opposed to, just us being able to like, fund the program and fund it in a way that like benefits us, that benefits all humanity, because there's a lot of things that we could easily do with AI, man. Like, imagine, just having, like, you want to learn a subject, boom, you got an AI right there to help you learn everything you need to know about a subject and help you like really propel yourself and increase your knowledge, man. You don't have to go to college anymore. You've got a personal agent sitting in your RTX Spark right there. No, I'm just joking. Like, that shit is exciting to me, man. Like, because there's so much stuff in the world that I've wanted to learn, but I can't sit and go to college for every single thing I want to learn. But having an AI agent that's right there that literally knows all of this stuff, like factual information, how could that be a bad thing for humanity, bro? Like, seriously, how could that be bad? And you pay for that, you pay your subscription and you learn it at your own pace or whatever. Like, I'm not opposed to paying a subscription for something that's going to give me actual real knowledge. But we also do have that other thing that, like, the people that create the AI are the ones that create the knowledge, basically. They can prevent you. Like, we do need laws. We do need the government to keep it fair and open and you know true. But how do you do that, man? Society is, from what you see on the line online, society is pretty untrustworthy. You know what I mean? Like, how do we get, you know how do we get what we actually are paying for these days? Man, it's scary. The AI is scary, but it's also very exciting. My best advice is to learn how to use that shit and use it well, so that you're prepared for anything that might happen. Because, yeah, like, when you look at half the world is communist and they control everything, and you've got this little beacon of freedom in America that's slowly getting eroded away day by day, young kid by young kid, bro. And how do we prevent that, man? So, yeah, I don't know, food for thought. But let's move on over to PC, man. Where do you see PC going, personal computing, in the future of AI, bro? Like, what do you, with the prices the way they are right now, what do you think things look like in 5 years?
Well, I hope in 5 years from now we start seeing prices come down. I really hope that within 3 years we see prices come down. It's really hard to say because the market is so hostile and volatile right now when it comes to production of these chips and how companies are prioritizing, corporations with data centers and whatnot. I'm I'm more of a conspiracy theorist on this, and a lot of people are probably gonna, some might agree with me, but a lot more might just say, no, no, it's market demands. I do think that at some point they saw how much they can get.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're like, let's keep this going. Our shareholders love this. Let's keep this going and going as long as we can. And so I want to say the prices are going to drop because I want to say that China's going to come in and China's going to be like, let's dethrone these capitalistic companies, right? We see Chinese DDR5 RAM popping up on the market now, and they're starting to sell it. And I don't know. I mean, I hope that China comes in and causes some type of uh, tidal wave in this industry that says, oh, if China's going to do this, we better lower prices again to keep our products on the consumer's mind.
Yeah.
And not to go back to the whole AI topic, but when it comes to AI and frontier models and the prices, China's releasing like DeepSeek and Quen and Alibaba models, and they're pennies on the dollar compared to these American models. And they're also open sourcing them to dethrone and say, hey, listen, if you've got 4 GGX Sparks, you can run this Kimi Cape 2.7 or this Mini Max M3 model, and it might not be as good as Claude, but hey, it's up there. It's going to be up there. 1 trillion,
Yeah,
so
and the more people that use for it, the more people that develop for it because it's affordable. Yeah, I mean China's pretty much known for that though. Like they come in and essentially rot out everything, but after everything's rotted out and they have no one else to copy off of, then everything just stagnates and it falls apart. They've destroyed multiple industries at this point, by doing that because they have the capacity to over to pretty much over freaking um overload everything and overstock everything that they've consistently done that with a lot of different things. So I don't know if I would. I mean, honestly, if China would play by a more like realistic, thing. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I would like to see like these companies get put in their place from time to time too, because I do feel like they do take advantage of things a lot. Um, but so I mean, we both grew up in an age when PCs, started first coming out. PCs were significantly more expensive then than they are now. I mean, even like something comparable to like my RTX 5090 with as much storage and as much RAM and compute power that's in there, that thing would have cost $1 million when personal PCs started coming out. I mean, shit, it was like for megabytes, thousands of dollars for freaking storage. So we're we're definitely at a point right now where like, yeah, it is getting a little bit tight. Like it is expensive, but it's nowhere near the cost of what it was. But we're also getting to a point now where these newer models demand more. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Like, yeah, I would like to see them, drop their prices, but I also do think that at the end of the day, they still need consumers, but maybe just not as much as they used to. These companies want to
oh,
buy everything.
the perfect example of inflating the price would be Game Pass, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
They lost millions and millions of consumers because one, some people couldn't afford it, and two, other people's like, wait a minute, I'm not paying this much for this. So
exactly.
we're gonna start. I think we're gonna start seeing that with the DDR5. People are gonna be like, oh, we can't afford this. Oh, we're not gonna buy this, and then they're just this is the iffy part now, right? Are they just gonna keep this as like a company wide thing where they will only sell DDR5 to companies and consumers can no longer get it? Like what that's the part that I don't know what's gonna happen there.
Well, technically, they're not selling DDR5. They're selling the HBM or whatever. They're just not making as much DDR5 because they've turned all of their manufacturing to the HBM, from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong, but I look at the price of RAM and stuff right now, and so the other day, I donated like my old PC case and all of that stuff to a friend, and he had to get on Amazon to buy RAM and stuff, and I suggested that he get the Lexar because it was the cheapest, and that's the new Chinese RAM. I use Lexar memory and stuff. Like I'm not opposed to that, but it's only $50 cheaper. You know what I mean? So if we're expecting China to come out and just automatically lower the prices back down to where they were, um, I mean, yeah, they could do it, and I mean that would be interesting. But then you are for me, it's like okay, would the I don't know. Yeah, I mean that is one thing that I guess maybe China could really help with, and it wouldn't be if they brought the prices back down to what they used to be. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay. If they bring them back down to like, a CL30 memory kit, DDR5, 32 gigs for $130, what I paid for mine, okay, I'm cool with that. But if they lower the prices to where these other companies just couldn't compete anymore, then that's a different story. You know what I mean? Because they bring out these products and then they undercut everybody else. That's what I worry about. I just worry about I don't care if China brings out a quality product that can compete, and as long as they keep the prices competitive, I'm cool with that. It's when they undercut everything, and then those companies that pioneered the stuff and brought it in no longer cease to function, and then there's no more. There's no more like they don't we don't move forward anymore. Everything gets stagnant in every one of the fields that they take over. You know what I mean? Like quality controls start to suffer and all of that stuff. Um, that's my only problem with like the whole China thing. Like I use a lot of Chinese products. I do cover some Chinese products and stuff, but that's kind of where I'm at like right now with like VR. Pimax sent out a headset for me. Okay, this is like a really high end Pimax headset. Um, Obviously, there's stuff like HTC Vive. There's frameworks. There's Apple. Everybody's got basically their headsets. Okay. Well, the thing is like it's a really good headset. Pimax Crystal Super is a very good headset, but it's so janky in terms of like software and how you set it up. And like sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't. And it's like, what the hell did I do different this time? And that's the thing that like bugs me is because this is a really nice headset and it's really good when it works. But when it doesn't work, it's like, okay, what the hell's going on with this thing, man? Like, why did it work today, but it doesn't work tomorrow? And, like with that RAM set that I bought, I put a video up, because I was like, oh man, it's the first RAM set I ever got DIY or DOA. I put it in there, both sticks, and it wouldn't post. So I took out one stick, didn't post, put that other stick back in, took out the other one, and then it posted. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like one stick works out of these two that I just bought. It wasn't until I like sat here messing around with that thing and like pulled the battery out and let it sit for 20 minutes. Because I was getting ready to just swap out the RAM from my build and throw it in there so that I could get this PC to that guy. And before I put my sticks in there, I just decided to try it one more time and I put both sticks back in there and then finally it booted and posted and shit. And I'm like, I've never had that problem with any Corsair RAM, G Skill RAM, or any, like the other RAM sticks that I bought. I think it was T Force. Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably the only three that I've bought. But I didn't have any problems with the other ones. And then all of a sudden, this one here is like the first set that I've got that was like, what the hell's going on with this? And to boot, none of the expos or XMPs worked with that. Like it was stuck at 4,800 megs unless you tune it yourself. I could just see like some stuff like that happening across the world. Like, yeah, you got your DDR5, and technically it works, but you're gonna have to program it yourself because none of the board manufacturers are gonna create expo things for them to work. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be on them. What's that list that they have with motherboards? You have like a list or something of like approved vendors that will work on your motherboard and stuff. Yeah, like that's the one thing that I worry about is because it's just going to cause a lot more confusion in the market than there already is. Like people already are, ooh, helicopters flew over, are building PCs and shit, and they're already like don't know what to do. They already don't know how to get into their BIOS and like set up settings and stuff. Like, can you imagine somebody building a brand new PC and then having to get in there and try to figure out how to tune the RAM for the $50 cheaper Chinese set when they could have just spent the $50 and push the expo button and shit works good. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. Like those are the things that, kind of, you know, it's not that Chinese make bad products. It's just that they're so profit not even profit driven, bro. They like they race each other to the bottom, all the time. It's just there's so much that they're such good workhorses that they just work and work and work. I mean, honestly, they need to go to an 8-hour workday and stop flooding every market with everything and take that time that they're not at work to like figure out how to like, do things better, because they copy a lot of things and some of their copies are getting pretty good, but it's, if that's all if their main strong suit is copying, what happens when there's nothing to copy is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I got on that freaking stupid kick, but there we are. I mean, what do you think? I'm waiting for you to respond. Tell me if I'm crazy.
No, I mean you do have some valid points here, right? Like you do have the point of racing to the bottom, and you flood in the market with a mix of quality of products and nothing being standardized, and people not wanting to program or work on it because they're not sure if it's going to be up to quality standards or if it's going to short boards out. And I get that, but I think out of this, if they were to flood the market, I think eventually there's going to be a baseline of which Chinese models or RAM manufacturers would be more trustworthy than others. And I think that Amazon would kind of tell that, and people would be testing it just to make sure. And yeah, you're right. I mean, like, is XMP actually going to work properly, or is it just going to be like a standard RAM that says XMP or something? You know, like, is the board going to recognize it? Those are all issues to be worked out. And I think if we can hopefully just create, and I can't say I'm creating the competition. I just hoping the competition is created so
Yeah.
that these prices do come down. And if other companies see that the Chinese market is starting to push these out, then Samsung might think twice, or like somebody else might think twice to say, listen, are we really going to lose the consumer market completely to China? Because eventually the business market is going to be maxed out, or they're going to want better and better deals for constantly buying. So we're going to have to go back to consumer RAM at some point. And I don't know if you know this, but Netlist just filed a suit against Samsung against their HBM RAM,
Yeah.
saying that they don't have the patents for it or something. I didn't read into it, but so is that going to make, like, those things like that? Are they going to factor into companies saying, "Hey, well, we better not completely give up on the consumer market"? And the other thing that really bothers me is that they claim there's a shortage, right? But then so
I could
much
buy
of it's
RAM
available
anywhere. I could buy RAM anywhere for
everywhere you
it's
look.
yeah, the
Yeah,
prices are so ridiculous. Yeah, I get that they need to do something about this RAM shit. They do. Um Obviously if the stock was already made, like they should sell it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like this is one of those things where like I start to get like annoyed with it. I don't think that like $400 is too much for, a good set of RAM. But like $1,300, $1,400, $2,800 for a freaking 8 terabyte storage for a freaking PlayStation 5. That's when I start to look at it and I'm like, why? Why? You know what I mean? Like I get the AI needs a lot of memory and a lot of RAM and stuff, and hopefully they find a way to mitigate that through software or something. But I don't know. This PC thing, man, it literally keeps me up at night sometimes, trying to figure out ways to make valuable content for my community, or just for people in general. And I always try to play devil's advocate, at least to an extent, that it's like, look, man, like we can't just look at things in black and white. Like, yes, prices go up when there's, when there's shortages, when there's competing, demand for the products that we normally use. And as gamers, we've had it pretty easy for a very long time. And all we do is bitch about everything. And right now, I feel like we're kind of getting a taste of our own medicine, being like, being put on the back burner and nobody's taking us seriously or listening to us right now because there's somebody with bigger, deeper pockets. And, you know, I don't think that China is going to save us from anything. I mean, in the long run, it might their saving might not be what we want or what we need. Um, what we do need though is for, like I said, I think the quickest way to the root of the problem of AI is making sure that it's useful for everybody and that everybody gets to take a that everybody can benefit from it, because I think that's the only way the AI survives in a in a humane way. And once there's enough demand for things, prices come down. That's the way supply and demand has always worked. The Model Ford, like Fords and stuff, they could mass produce them, and people were able to get them for $500 back in when they first came out and stuff. So mass production at a level where consumption is good enough for it, that usually brings the prices down. But right now they're still building out this AI platform. You know what I mean? It's like it's not even to scale to where they can. I don't know. I don't know how big a scale do they need though. You know what I mean? It's like what's the end point that we need to get to where it can start to costs can start to come down. You know what I mean? Because you look at like PC when it first started, like PCs were the size of a freaking like a house, and they were all ran on ribbon and shit. And those things cost way more money than anybody could ever consider buying. And then they finally found a way to shrink them, and then costs started coming down to where pretty much everybody had a personal computer. You know what I mean? or a laptop that you could take with you and run off a battery that was significantly faster than the very first computers ever built. So yeah, once scale is reached, then prices usually come down because they need people to consume that product. But right now, it's like there's this tug of war, and gamers are caught in the middle, and they are the loudest people on the planet when you take their polygons from them or make them
Oh yeah.
pay a little bit more money. Um, I've been trying to tell my community, it's like, look, only buy what you need. Technically, right now, even entry level products are more than sufficient for gaming. If you can't afford the high end stuff, get used to 1080p again. It's not a big deal. Get used to 1080p. Still enjoy your games. Still enjoy what you love, and hopefully things settle out. And if they don't, dude, we're screwed. Not one of us gamers right now are not no content creator is going to be able to bring down the AI all by themselves. Okay. And look, yeah, as a community, we could probably fight really hard and bring it down for ourselves, for everyday citizens, but the government's going to take over at that point, and then the government's going to use it, and then we're all doomed. So it doesn't really matter one way or another. I think we're
Well,
screwed.
the government's already using it. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen what happened with Anthropic, where they cut
Oh
the
yeah.
contract to Anthropic, and all of a sudden Anthropic had all these issues, and Fable 5 was coming out, and then it was pulled, but then it was Fred's greatest mythos, and there's a joke that it's just a myth because it never really came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, you got the stuff with the government; they're already using it. But I think what's going to happen, and more likely what's to happen, is that all these PC makers, like let's just say Orion and ZXT and whoever else might be, maybe they can all get together and lobby the RAM industry and be like, listen, guys, you are killing our consumers, and it's hurting our market so bad that we can't sell products the way that we used to
Yep.
because one, we can't really mark stuff up that much anymore. We're losing our markup. It's not affordable. And if we go out of business, then who's going to buy your stuff in bulk?
Yep.
Because consumers are only going to buy one or two at a time, whereas we're
Mm.
buying in bulk and we're using it, and it's like a good business transaction for everybody. Everybody wins. But keep raising the prices. These companies are not going to be able to sell the average consumers anymore. They just can't. It's some of them are going to close down. You might have one or two
Yeah.
that last, but they're not going to be there forever.
I think by the time this AI thing is finished, I think DIY is relegated to only the super enthusiasts that have the money to like throw away, and pre-builts are pretty much for everybody else, because that's the only way that they're going to be able to do it. Like the companies are going to have to build pre-builts to absorb that cost, and I think that's pretty much where it goes. I would like
Yeah,
to see would like to see them all come together, or at least get together in cahoots with each other and just start building their own damn RAM and storage. You've got companies like Asus that are pretty powerful. You've got companies like Corsair that could join forces with Asus and create a gamer only freaking set of RAM. Obviously, they could, get into cahoots with China and, enforce standards that would benefit gamers. But, just, just having like China, do it on their own. Um, yeah, if they enforce like standards and at least cut the prices, back down to, I don't think prices are ever going to go to where they were again. I do think that like your cheapest RAM set is probably going to start off at like $200 going forward, probably 225 after this. Because I mean, at the end of this, obviously it'll be still DDR5, but DDR6 is going to be much faster, and they're going to like those prices are going to start off higher and stay higher than we've gotten used to in a long time. So I don't think that it's ever going back to where it was, but it will get to a point where yeah, it'll probably be affordable, or at least won't feel like you're spending 5 times as much for RAM. But I don't know. I do think that the cost of tech is going up before it goes back down again, because they've got to have mass adoption for this stuff. I don't know. Jensen wants to sell PCs to freaking AI robots, bro, and he's going to be able to do it. What do you think?
yeah. In this I don't know, man. Like this really bums me out because as I'm getting really into the AI stuff, I need DDR5 now, right? Like like DDR5 and PCIe Express 5.0 would definitely help me out, and I just honestly I can't afford it as somebody who my income is more limited in that aspect, and um my only luck would be if a company said, "Hey, we like the work that you're doing. We're going to send you one of these and optimize for it." Uh,
Do you
and I
still
think
have
a lot of
do you still
what's
have
that?
framework? Do you still have framework?
I do. Yeah.
Did they send you a pretty decent model or
Yeah, they sent me the 128 gigabyte.
oh nice, nice. Yeah. So that I mean that at least alleviates some of that for but yeah, I mean Strix Halo is pretty good. I mean, but obviously you're gonna need like you're gonna need the new one once it comes out, like the 400 series. Those are gonna be better.
and and also the to optimize on like the 7900 cards and the RDNA 4 cards, like I don't have that stuff to test on, right? Like I got an old RDNA 2 card, 6900, and my friend donated it to me, but in packaging one of the fans got like stuck. So it's like when it goes into like high mode or whatever. So I have to buy an aftermarket fan and try and fix it and open it up, but I
Won't
haven't.
AMD send you out a card?
Uh, where I don't think I'm at that point yet. I don't think I've gotten to that point. They said that they would try to send something out, but not. I don't think I'm at that point yet. I hope that discussion opens up.
Yeah, it should. I mean, I don't know. Like I met them all at CES. Are you gonna go to CES this year? Next year in
I want
27?
to. I
Yeah,
want to
if you
try to get
go,
there.
if you can make it, dude, that'd be pretty badass. We'll definitely go and we'll go talk to all of our friends at AMD. um,
Yeah. Listen,
try to
I gotta say, like, I love those guys at AMD. They're like a lot more open to talking to people and getting feedback. And even if they might be more limited in the feedback that they can send back to the corporation, at least they're out there and they're talking to people. And I don't see that as much with Nvidia. Like Nvidia has their corporate account, and I'm not trying to compare the two, right? Maybe it's just like comparing. Maybe it's just like Xbox versus PlayStation, how they handle stuff. But NVIDIA AI will just randomly send GGX Sparks to people on X that are benchmarking. They're not even optimizing stuff. They're just be like, oh, you're benchmarking? Here's a GGX Spark. How many do you need to benchmark? They're not
yeah,
even trying to optimize these things. And
yeah.
I just don't understand that.
It's
Like,
crazy
why?
wild.
Yeah. I just don't get it. But
Absolutely.
I like AMD because they seem to be more personal. I know, they're still a corporation and that's
Oh
their
yeah.
job, but
As
I
far as
think they're
I
good at their
know,
job.
I started using AMD man, and it was pretty quick. You know, like I started buying RDNA 3 and RDNA 4 was sent to me. You know what I mean? I was sitting there, you know, going on and on. Are you making videos of what you're doing?
Not yet, because I want to make sure that it's in early experimental stages and the feedback is great. Like, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people are using it now, but I want to make sure that when I make a video, I can sit there when I make that video and be like, there is absolutely zero bugs in this right now, and it's going to launch the exact way for me as it's going to launch for you.
Well, yeah, that'll be pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I'm excited about AI. You know, I think we all worry more than we need to, um, because AI is a powerful tool that we can all use, and we should use. We should use. I don't see anything wrong with it. I actually feel like it's an important it's an important step forward in everything we love: games, commute, solving world problems, stuff like that. You know, even yeah, just oh man, that I feel like the possibilities are endless, just like the people that are making it. And so I'm excited about it. But I also want like the consumer part of it. You know what I mean? Like I want the consumer part of it to be good. I want it to truly transform the way I play my games. I want it to transform the way I interact with my PC. I want it to transform the way that I drive my car. I want it to transform these things in a better way for everybody. and I want it to transform the way that I learn and the lens that I see the world through in some aspects of life. So, I mean, I know that there's so much negativity, and it's just like it's hard to win a conversation with somebody that's just ignorant, dude, because they don't care. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not something that you can talk sense into somebody. They have to be open minded, and they have to be willing. They have to be humble so they can be teach. So they can. If you're not humble, you're
You
not
know,
teachable.
I had some experiences where I used AI and it was a very good experience. And I just want to say this for your audience too, in case they ever get in this situation. So in Florida, when you order an Uber from like the airport, sometimes you're going to get people that don't speak English because Florida has a lot of people that come from Cuba or like Hispanic countries. And they're here legally, but they just don't know the language yet. So I was in a Uber and the guy was Cuban and he didn't speak a word of English. I pulled out the Galaxy S25 Ultra, turned on the translator, and like we were just having conversations like back and forth. The thing was just
Oh
handling the
yeah,
whole thing for us. So
absolutely.
that's a perfect great use of AI
Yep.
to bridge gaps. And if you travel, you can even use it for that purpose too while you're traveling.
Oh, absolutely, man. I've got the Galaxy S25 Plus, and it's an incredible phone. I love it. I was gonna upgrade. I don't think I'm gonna upgrade to the new one. I'll wait until the one after. But yeah, dude, AI is such an incredible thing, and definitely can help bridge the gap and use it. If you hate AI, use at least try to use it to gain knowledge, because obviously you can use AI for all kinds of stupid shit too. You know what I mean? And people are showing that every day on the internet. You know, obviously it's a kind of new technology, so yeah, there's going to be bugs and glitches and stupid shit, but it's going to continue to learn, and it's already smarter than most people on the planet. You know, it clearly has more
Yes.
information than most of us do. So
You know,
yeah,
also just don't treat AI like your friend either. Like I think, you know, you hear the lawsuits going on with parents suing companies, but listen, parents need to take some responsibility and protect their kids and teach their kids. You do not treat AI like a personal friend. Treat it like a learning tool. Treat it like an encyclopedia. Treat it to help yourself fact check or create. And sometimes, if you're not sure and the answer doesn't sound right on AI, check with another AI or check with search because it's not always going to be 100% correct. AI can still hallucinate, but
and it
when it
can
comes to advice,
and it can still feed you popular thought. It does that a lot.
yes, it will feed you popular thought. So when it comes to advice and stuff, always get advice from professionals, from your parents, from your teachers in education, wherever your human source might be, and leave AI to do like the redundant stuff that you don't want to
Yeah,
do that is
exactly.
difficult or like that's what it's for.
Yeah, I mean, I use it for some stuff, you know. I mean, clearly, you know, creating stuff or whatever is kind of fun, and you know, having it, you know, we designed this shirt like during my live stream yesterday, um, Butter Smooth Land shirt. It's like, and then we're selling it as merch, and it's like got a RTX 5090, and there's like this valley or whatever, and it says Butter Smooth Land. It's pretty cool, you know. Um, nice contribution. We're using AI to create AI, or we're using AI to create, you know, cool things that are fun for the channel, and you know, without paying for an artist to do all of that stuff. You know, I mean, that would take a long time, and it took us like, seriously, I'm not even joking, like 5 prompts. We had exactly what we envisioned, and it was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can clearly use it to make money for yourself. You know what I mean? And anybody can go to any of them t-shirt creating things. You don't have to have a freaking channel to do that. You can jump on Fourth Wall, you can jump on freaking Redbubble, or any of these things, and you can create art, you know, because you're prompting it. It is your art, but obviously AI is using art styles that are uploaded to it. But you can tell it what you want. You can tell it, hey, I want this. You can upload a picture of a valley in there and say, hey, I want this changed. I want it to look, you know, cell shaded. I want this. You know, you can write your letters and come up with everything. Add your picture. Add all the stuff that you want, and then have the AI bring it all together and make it look like a professional artist did this thing for you. And so, like, yes, use your creative mind and AI as a tool to absolutely benefit you in any way that you can, like every time you create a t-shirt, that t-shirt has to be made by a human or until they get a robot to do it. But right now, you're creating that, and so you're employing somebody that, you're selling your idea. And it's the same way it's been done forever. An artist will make it, send it to the shop, they'll print it on a shirt, and then they'll sell it for you or something. So it just speeds up the process. I mean, it does take, it takes something that you can't do. Like if you can't draw or do that stuff or put in the time, the hours necessary to create that project, you like seriously, it took us maybe a half hour to from conception to shirt to first order to like 3 days to be printed and shipped, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, you might get some comments later on, and people say, "Oh, well, it's stealing jobs from artists." Well, let me tell you this. So the way AI works now is a lot of companies hire artists to train the database, right? So they're paying artists to upload their art into AI. It's no longer just blatantly stealing stuff like maybe when it was initially training and learning from books and everything else. Companies are now starting to pay people to train it. Like I know somebody who is a legal expert and in law, they're a lawyer. They're getting paid to type in case information, results, their opinions. It's so don't think of it as stealing anymore. Think of it like somebody's getting paid to do it,
Dude,
and that's why it's there.
even artists are using AI, bro. Even artists are
Yeah.
using AI to speed up their processes. So if you've got a good idea and you know how to prompt AI, don't feel bad about taking a job from somebody, because those guys are doing it too. They're I guarantee they are using AI. If you've got access to AI to use it, they've got access to AI to use it, and trust and believe, to speed up their workflow to make more money, they're going to do it. So don't let them guilt you into thinking that you shouldn't be using AI. No. If you can do something, absolutely do it. Like the tools are there. That's what AI is for, is to speed up everybody's process, including theirs. So if they're trying to tell you that, oh yeah, dude, we're doing everything by hand, and maybe some are, like the ones that are doing everything by hand are charging that money for that, because that's what the person wants. And so yeah, they kind of have to do what they're being charged for. And but like most of this stuff, like a t-shirt or a freaking a banner for your YouTube channel, or a freaking like a slogan or some stupid stuff like that, there's no reason for you to pay an artist to do that. Okay, like not anymore. And I did, I waffled back and forth with having somebody create my image and my banner and all of that stuff. And I started prompting Chat GPT. I took a picture of myself sitting a certain way, put the lettering that I wanted, gave AI the parameters and stuff that I wanted, and spit an image out like pretty quickly. And it's not hard. Like you don't have to pay somebody to do that when you have the tools right there to do it yourself. You know, start learning how to use AI and stop being so negative about it. Because I guarantee them same artists, they're using AI, and if they're not using AI, that is an uphill battle, because it's going to take them hours to create something, and it's going to take AI 30 seconds. And with their knowledge of art and how they see things and how they want things, they could get better results out of AI than you can by yourself. So take that into
Yeah, well said.
consideration, that
Well
they're
said.
probably guaranteed using that stuff, and you're still paying them the same price. If you could do it yourself and get the results you want, is that a bad thing? If you can give an AI the prompts that you want and the picture that you see in your head, and it spits that out, isn't that exactly what you wanted? But then you got
Yeah.
all the people that run around, "Oh, it's AI slop, it's AI slop." It's like, dude, all art is essentially, created by somebody, you know what I mean? Like whether it's AI slop or not, most people look at something and it looks cool to them or it doesn't. Like think of all the anime and characters that have been created over the years. Now they're using AI to make them to create characters in games, and you're they're still fine, you know what I mean? Like they don't look any worse than the ones that are being created by artists. I don't know. Like, see, all the arguments are just dumb. It's people looking for reasons to hate things. And that sucks, man, because yeah, dude, I could sit here and find a million reasons why I hate my RTX 5090. I could find thousands of reasons why I hate my 9070 XT or every video game that I play. But why? That takes way more freaking time and effort to hate everything than it does to just enjoy something and walk away with a smile. It's just crazy, man. Society we live in. I think society's probably always been that way though. Maybe AI can fix that for us.
I don't know. That would require some type of mass hypnotization with AI for that to happen.
know anything's possible these days. We got Neuralink.
Make everybody positive, everybody happy, positive, nobody upset or yeah.
Oh yeah, for real. So yeah, man, this was a pretty good talk. We're about 2.5 hours in. Those were the things that I really wanted to talk about. I mean, if you got anything else that you want to add to this conversation before we close it out, I mean, this was a great interview, great time hanging out with you. I would love to have you come back more often. Start doing these. I want to try to do these at least once a week. Try to kind of build up a community around those and stuff, just talking about things because it's always harder to be creative alone, but it's when you're working with people or using AI, of course, it's a little bit easier to be creative. So yeah, I'd like to do something around bringing people more into what's going on in tech instead of just being mad about the prices and stuff, because trust me guys, if our buddy Clownz here can get a freaking AI thing running on a 12 gigabyte 3060, trust and believe we have more than enough tech to do a lot of things with. We just need to learn how to utilize that tech. And I still believe that developers can optimize the shit out of their games to run on some pretty old ass tech. Like we're
Yeah. There's people that took the PlayStation 6 since they jailbroke it and put the Linux on it. People got AI running on it cuz it had unified RAM.
oh yeah, exactly, bro. Like it's crazy wild the things that we can do with the tech that we already have. It's just nobody's utilizing it. It's specific, it's built for specific purposes. And like with AMD, like I really do believe that there is so much more that can be done with AMD hardware, but nobody takes the opportunity or the initiative to do that for AMD because Nvidia's PC gaming, bro. Nvidia is PC. Nvidia is the cornerstone, but with AMD's popularity gaining and growing with CPU is giving them that doorway to where they never had that before. And now you're starting to see people like yourself and other developers coming together and creating these things to actually take advantage of AMD hardware. And that's the exciting thing because Nvidia is a monopoly, whether you like it or not. And most people legitimately gravitate toward Nvidia. But I see in AMD, like other people are starting to see, that there is something there and it's something special. And right now, you can get in to AMD a lot cheaper, a lot more cost effective than Nvidia. But yeah, you got to put in some elbow work. It's like buying a house, a rundown house that you get to build yourself and make it incredible. That's the way I look at AMD, and because obviously the silicon's there, the power is there, like it's there. So,
You know, the great thing is that cost efficiency to compute with AMD is a lot better than Nvidia. Nvidia just has that name in the CUDA stack and all the people that they send sparks through developing for it. But AMD is cost effective and it can run stuff just as well. You just have to optimize it. Once I started optimizing Llama for AMD, uh, all of a sudden a group of 40 people came together in a group and it brought me in and talking to me, and we're all like working together to get this working better. And it's just all it takes is somebody with an idea to make something happen and pull people together and create a community like you do with your channel. You created a tech community. People love coming here, watching your stuff. And I think the same thing. If we can have Froggy do the same thing and develop a community for AMD AI, then we have another 40 people, and that's 80 people working together. So it's just everybody out there. If you really want to do this, just hop in and try it, man, because it's all about community.
absolutely, man, I absolutely believe that. So, guys, thank you for coming on. Um, Clownz. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, man. You are just full of insight, and the community you've built over there at 4GQ TV is absolutely incredible. If you ever need me to come back on and hang out with you guys, definitely try to clear out my schedule and make that happen. I did get a promotion at work. I am the maintenance director now, so my workload is definitely a little bit more heavy now. So having time to just do things is a little bit more not as easy as it used to be, but I still have that opportunity. And yeah, this has been such a great interview, man. Like really good, and I hope that this delivers some value to the people that are going to watch it. So let everybody know where you're at. Give them all your handles and stuff like that. I'll drop some links in here as well.
You can find me at 4GQ TV, 4GQ TV on all platforms. Cover pop culture, cosplay, celebrity interviews. So we interviewed Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. We just had Andrea. I'm gonna say her name wrong. Adriana Palaki on. She was in the Orville. She's Kelly Grayson, so she was on recently. We got more stuff coming up, and you can follow me on Twitter at Italian Clowns, where you can see the community that I'm working with on the AMD stuff and the AI stuff. And yeah, it's just exploding. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely, my friends. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this interview today. If you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments section if there's anything that you would like. I mean, if you have any questions or anything, I will be uploading this as a premiere. So if Clownz wants to be there in the comments, I will be there in the comments. And so we can all watch this together and you guys can give us your incredible insights. Especially after we will go back and check out the comments after, and I will be, adding Clownz as one of the contributors to this. So, all right, my friends, we'll see you later. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good night.